We are from Bray Institute of Further Education, and we are going to be performing Martin Crimp's attempts on her life.
Over this whole process, we've been trying to figure out who is Anne and where is she?
Help us figure out these questions. Tuesday the 13th and Wednesday the 14th of March at 8 p.m. in the Mermaid Theatre in Bray.
Tickets €5 before the show dates and €8 on the night.
Fashion is what you buy, but style is how you wear it. Step into an oasis of calm and class. Allow us to help you find your style for any occasion. Ashanti Gold Boutique. Passionate about personal service.
Harbour Bar Bray, voted the best bar in the world. Come along and join us. Pull up a stool and sample the perfect pint. The crack is always mighty. The fire is always burning and Raoul is always smiling. The Harbour Bar Bray, my harbour.
Shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch!
Shows, and when you scan the don't know where this is all going to go from here. Don't know whether we'll look back on this in 5 years and it'll be a memoir of a great band, or you know, something else that just slipped away. I don't know.
Will this even be aired? We don't know. But hopefully the band do well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
If you love rock and roll, and beautiful ladies,
What the fuck are dangleberries?
Oh, you
They're the
don't
little
wanna
bits of
know.
shit that hangs off a guy's arse. And he doesn't wipe it properly.
sex,
At least I'm not trying to force my daughter into something that her mother wanted to do.
I know what you'd like to force my
living
daughter
through-
into, and it's nothing to do with singing, I can
Well,
tell
it wouldn't
you.
be hard.
You fucking
It wouldn't be
big
hard.
bastard.
Yeah.
then meet Sarah, Jane, Crystal, and Katie.
And together we're Blaze. Dangleberries. They get knotted like sheep.
Oh, shut up!
Mitchell Mount presents a fly-on-the-wall documentary of the making of Blaze.
Well, Blaze have taken off. They're fantastic. We've done this video now, which should really help with, and I have quite a few contacts. So once we're out there and the nation gets to see us, I think this will be worldwide before long.
Meet the crew, the band and manager like you've never seen them before.
Okay? Seduce us, love us, like us. What you want to be us, you want to be in us, okay? You love us. Watch it like a dirty old man watching you in the park, okay? Now go do it, bitches, like you've never done it before. I've done a lot of videos, Heidi. And these girls...
Grade A.
Got just one. Just one. Lets them all down. Moves like a rabbit.
Featuring their smash hit, It's Okay to Cry When Nobody Loves You.
If you get confused with the words, do it in your head.
When nobody's calling you on the phone.
If you believe, Kate gets down on the floor, so I need someone filming that.
And you're sad
Okay?
and on your own.
Sort it.
There is
He's an
someone
amateur.
waiting for
He
you.
thinks he's somebody.
Someone special, someone true. And
Oh,
your
the muscle
heart
of
will soar
the actual,
down.
you know, the band, you know. I'm their mascot, you know.
If you believe in dreams.
I'm getting a bit sick of this whole pop star industry.
You know what to
I
do.
love it.
You
I
know
think
where the
it's
door
great.
is.
Friendships can be tricky. They have their ups and their downs. This is a story about me and my best friend.
I'm bored.
Grab controller then.
What's the point? I never beat your scores. Come on. We never do shit anymore.
Fine, come on.
Finally! Where are we going?
Pub! Hey.
Hello.
She's gonna say no.
Are you okay?
Oh, it sounds like angels should. Although, I wouldn't kick her out of bed on a cold night.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Dave.
Tasha.
Nice weather we're having.
Still a little cold though.
Still an improvement.
You? I mean, no offense, but I was there too. I'm the cute one. She should have picked me. God, I'm never getting the ride, am I? What if you let me take over for a while? You know, Fight Club style. I never tried that before.
I'm going on my date now. Stay on my head till then.
Yeah, me too. It's not often I meet a nice guy like you. Most guys don't even take the time to listen like you do.
Sorry, what?
I was saying that it's nice that someone like you can take the time to listen.
Oh.
Smooth move, shithead.
Oh, I have to be somewhere. There's something I have to do. I forgot earlier on. Thank you for asking me for the drink as well. Thanks. I gotta...
Well, that went well.
Not now, Rooney.
Come on, you can't be that angry.
Rooney, stop.
It was just having a little fun.
It's not fun though. God, I need to be able to meet real people without you ruining it.
You still have me though.
That's not enough.
But why?
Because I'm fucking lonely, Rooney. I need to meet real people. I'm done with this, Rooney.
I just don't think it's gonna work anymore. You're not the same anymore. You're different. There's just something missing. I hope we can be friends.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll see you around.
You know, I never really liked her anyway.
the holy ground once more.
Where were you? I was just walking up. There's a lot to do. Look, the room and the food are ready and I'm ready, but I need to fill you in on the plan.
Plan? Sophie, what are you talking about?
Okay, so I was on the phone to Mark and he'll be here soon and he's really looking forward to meeting you and... Were you listening to me at all on the phone earlier?
What do you mean?
What are you wearing? I mean, I'm all about being comfortable, but really, like...
Are you serious?
Look, it doesn't matter. We don't have time to get into your lack of understanding of fashion. Come with me. We'll get you sorted. Come on, get moving. Okay. Nope. No. Nope. Yes. Perfect. Okay, get this on you. I'll get the other bits.
Sophie.
Come on, we're limited for time here.
Sophie, I really don't need all of this. I mean, what's wrong with what I'm wearing?
Okay. Be here soon. So the plan is...
What plan?
Save me your excuses. Right. When he gets to the door, answer and be polite. Give him a kiss on the cheek. Flirt with him. Remember, it's all about the eye contact and the physical contact. Hold his eye. And remember, be yourself. That's what's most important. If he sees you the way I do, or if you let him, he'll be yours for the taking. Look, just stick to the plan and you'll be fine. Come on. Are you ready?
Yeah, so I'll ever be.
Please try to be a bit enthusiastic. Hi, Mark. Great to see you.
You too.
Come in. Mark, this is my sister Jess. Jess, this is Mark.
Hi, Mark. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Jesse. You too.
Mark, can I take your coat?
Sure.
Jessie, will you show Mark inside?
Yeah, sure.
So, what do you think? Did you talk to him? Gotta give you guys some time to get to know each other?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, he seems nice, but it got a bit awkward. So I thought I'd come in and help you with the food.
Don't just leave him in there on his own.
What?
I didn't organise all of this so you could just be in separate rooms ignoring each other. Just ask him about himself. It's just a conversation. I'm not asking you to marry him.
Okay, come on. Oh, where am I going? Yeah. Would you like some?
Yeah, please. Thanks.
So, Mark, tell me about yourself.
Well, I don't know what Sophie's told you, but I work in the marketing department.
Oh, very good.
What about you?
Well, I'm working part-time and finishing off my degree, actually, at night. Have you been working with Sophie for long?
About 2 years now. When are the other people coming?
Did she not mention that it was going to be just me and you here tonight?
Not in so many words. She mentioned there was a gathering with her husband and some people, and that I should come along.
I just can't believe that she didn't say it to you. Like, this is just typical.
No, it's fine, really. You know, I'm glad she did. I'm happy sitting talking with you.
I'm just going to go and help Sophie with the food. I'll be back in a minute.
So, how's it going?
Oh, good. Until Mark said that you never mentioned that I was going to be here. I mean, Sophie, what are you trying to do? Is this some sort of game to you?
Just calm down. No, I thought I mentioned it. Anyway, he's here now and he seemed to be getting on really well from what I hear.
That is not the point, Sophie. You can't just decide how other people should live their lives just because you see it that way.
Jess, I think you're taking this way too much to heart. I was just trying to help.
Don't even attempt to give me the Sophie knows better crap because I don't want to hear it. You see me as this disorganized mess. And not only are you trying to convince me that you're right, but you also had to drag Mark into this.
I'm sorry you had to hear that.
It's fine. Family's a bit complicated.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Look, I think I'm gonna head off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I get your number? Maybe we go for coffee sometime.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Cheers. I'll call you.
I look forward to it.
You didn't even come into us. That was so rude. Where's your perfect husband? Didn't even bother to show. My life isn't perfect, Jess. My perfect husband left me for an intern, which apparently is my fault. According to him, she gets him in a way that I just never could. Apparently, we just don't just connect in the same way they do. Financially, I'm barely above water because he won't give me a penny towards the mortgage so he can pay rent on his little love nest.
Sophie, I had no idea. Why didn't you tell me?
What's the point? Wouldn't change anything.
I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize. Look, maybe you're right. Maybe I do try and control things.
I just want you to be happy.
I'm fine. What was Mark think of me? Go back to him.
He's already gone, Sophie.
What? I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't ruin this for you.
No, you didn't ruin anything. I actually gave him my number and we're gonna go for coffee soon.
Great. I'm really glad to hear that.
Hear you.
you not be asleep, grandfather? You need your rest to keep your strength up.
Should I not be saying that?
Only repeating your own wise words back to you. I got us some bread and meat today. It's not great. Should last us a day or two. I'll go back tomorrow into the east side of town. I hear one of the main families throw out full chickens if they're not cooked right for them. Imagine being able to throw away food like that.
That's a luxury I'm glad I cannot afford. I'd rather fast for a week than gorge myself to the extent that I exhaust my palate.
Forgive me, grandfather, but I did not understand all of your words. But they sounded pretty.
They are pretty. But your skills are more important to us now than the ramblings of an old man.
I got more than food.
What do you mean?
This is what I got today. I had the rest hidden. If I keep getting the amount I'm getting every day, we should be able to move into town before the next full moon.
How did you find this?
In people's pockets. I am really good at it. They didn't even notice I was beside them.
Have you no sense? I didn't raise you to become a thief.
Grandfather, I'm doing this so we don't have to be here anymore. We can move into town and be warm, fed and happy.
Do you think you're the first one to have that thought? That you can steal your way up the chain? Have you not noticed all the people around here with only one hand? How do you think that came to pass? They were caught stealing and had their hand chopped off. What would happen if you were caught? You're a sweet boy, but you have no sense.
I would not get caught. I'm too fast for any of the fat guards in town. And if someone did catch me, they would not live to tell anyone. I am the one out there every day, begging for scraps, getting spit on and pushed around. What do? Nothing but sit here repeating your useless pretty words. I'm trying to make a better life for us, and you insult me. I will not spend my whole life as a beggar, living off scraps that the rats leave us. If you will not come with me, then I will move on by myself, and not have to worry about splitting my hull with a useless old man. Three gold, 5 silver, and 10 copper. A few pieces of metal jewelry, and a new knife. Not a bad day. Hey! Some more of your finest rat's piss you call wine.
Did I scare the master thief? Should pay attention to your surroundings more. You may not have a throat one day.
I'm more worried about angry men wielding axes than beautiful women wanting my wine. What's this of master thief? I've never stolen anything in my life. I just take back the things I'm entitled to.
And what happens when the other person takes exception to that belief?
Then they lose more than their coin.
A thief and a killer. I have come to the right place. Hey. The place stays closed for the rest of the night. And keep the drinks coming.
Yes, miss. Will be my pleasure.
A new gold coin for a drink and my company. I am flattered.
1 gold piece flatters you. And I might be able to hire you cheaper than I thought.
Hire me. I'm not a laborer. You can't hire my skills like you're hiring someone to build you a fence.
I have been watching you for a while now. And you're supremely good at what you do. As well as what you don't do.
I do not enjoy that part of it. But I will not let people get in my way of being rich and powerful.
A house built on the bones of your enemies. You are sounding like a lord already. Here's what I need of you. I know that you're good at cutting purses of unexpecting low merchants' wives. Or some drunken laborer. But I need to see how you do against the upper end of the society. High merchants, members of the high families, rulers. I have handpicked a target for you. She's the mistress of the main ale cellar in this town. I want you to take everything you can of her in front of everyone. Do this and safely escape, and we might talk again.
You want me to steal in public? Did you get touched with a sickness or something?
You're fast, skilled, and you know the best parts out of the town. You're ideal for this. And I'll make sure you're well taken care of after it is done.
But she will be surrounded by mercenary guards. Is there anything like the ones I've seen? They are more like shaved bears with steel strapped to their hands than men.
And I thought you said you would not let anyone get in your way of becoming rich and powerful. Or was that just the wine talking?
I did not say I would not do it. I just need a little bit more persuading.
I see subtlety is not a skill you have learned in your life. Advanced payment. 30 new gold coins. Another 30 will be in your hands after you complete the job.
60 gold coins. Oh, for that money, I will steal from the spirits themselves.
Let's get started then.
So, how much to keep you for another day and night? I have plenty of gold, food and wine for us to have much more fun together with.
Spending your money well, I see.
Nothing wrong with a bit of companionship and celebration after a successful job.
Not at all. But there is something wrong when she takes an extra gold coin for herself. I told you before you should pay more attention to your surroundings, and I see you did not heed my words.
What's another gold coin when I could bathe in them? Even after buying my way into high family society, I still have enough to pay for every whore in this town until a new moon.
Your usual pay. I'll be back in 3 days to discuss the next job.
You don't have to leave so soon. Please, stay a while. I have food and wine on the way.
And what would I do that for?
Isn't that what friends do? Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we might die. Just something my grandfather used to say before we ate.
And there was me thinking you had gained some intellect. We're not friends, Zamek. I give you money, and you do as I say. That is our relationship. Nothing more.
Oh. I see.
I'd throw that chicken away if I was you.
We're just getting ready for liftoff. 12 gauge going off the fucking hook from tomorrow, man. Off the fucking hook, gonna rip some serious ass. Now get that fucking camera off, man. You rock and roll. Rock and roll like that. Rock and roll.
Usually I always get parked anyway.
Sean Brophy.
Yeah.
Cheers. Look at an amateur.
Looks terrible.
You just say what I think you say.
No, I didn't. Of course, it would be a touch. O'Rourke. David O'Rourke. David O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Right, you're up next.
Should have been mean to the amateur. Look at the way he walked and dropped to the ground. That's not zombie-like at all. Jeez. You won't believe what TV shows have auditions.
It's a bit early, this better be good.
The Walking Dead. What's an audition for the actual audition? You have to get through the first one to even have a chance. It's going to be way better than that again.
No way, you definitely have to go for that. How did you hear about it?
One of the lads has shared it on my page there. Anyway, sure, I'll talk to you after.
Before you go, I forgot to mention I'm having a party tonight if you want to come.
Yeah, cool.
Hey man,
How
you doing? Cheers for the invite. Yeah, no worries.
I'm early.
A little bit, but there's not many people here. Look, I've told people to invite friends.
How was Sean here?
I told people to invite
I
friends.
fucking knew this was going to happen. I fucking hate that guy.
You'll be grand.
There's a lot. We're going to have to make a phone call.
Hey, what? You talking to me? Yeah, you. What's your fucking problem? I don't know you. My name's Dave. I've heard you taunting me at the auditions. Oh, you're that guy. What do you mean, that guy? What's your problem? You go to every audition and you feel horribly. So I just think you should give up.
Well done. Working with me.
What the fuck?
Usually I always get parked anyway.
Sean Brophy.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Look at that amateur.
Looks terrible. You just say what I think you said.
No, I didn't. Of course, it would be a touch.
Yeah, listen. Thanks for
O'Rourke. David O'Rourke. David O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Right, you're up next.
Sure, what means to the amateur. Look at the way you walked and dropped to the ground. That's not zombie-like at all. Jeez. You won't believe what TV shows have auditions.
It's a bit early, this is gonna be good.
The Walking Dead. What's an audition for the actual audition? You have to get through the first one to even have a chance. It's going to be way better than last again.
No way, you definitely have to go for that. How did you hear about it?
One of the lads has shared it on my page there. Anyway, sure, I'll talk to you after.
Before you go, I forgot to mention I'm having a party tonight if you wanna come.
Yeah, cool.
Hey man,
How
you doing?
Cheers for the invite.
Yeah, no worries.
How early?
A little bit, but there's not many people here. Like, I've told people to invite friends.
How was Sean here?
I told people to invite
I
friends.
fucking knew this was going to happen. I fucking hate that guy.
You'll be grand.
There's a lot. We're going to have to make a phone choice.
Hey. What? You talking to me?
Hey, you. What's your fucking problem?
I don't know you.
My name's Dave. I've heard you taunt me at the auditions.
Oh, you're that guy.
What do you mean, that guy? What's your problem?
You go to every audition and you fail horribly. So I just think you should give up.
Well done. Working away.
What the fuck?
welcome to BIFE TV. Today we will be discussing Brexit and its impact on Ireland and the Irish film industry. Today on the panel, I'll be joined by Vanya, Jordan and Jake. So, let's jump right into it. What do you feel the impact of Brexit will have on Ireland?
I think it'll bring in more foreign talent. Like if UK leaves the EU, if anything, it might make a lot more people relocate to Ireland, which will just bring more work to Ireland, as well as like more foreign production companies, more foreign talent actors, much more people going to Ireland as opposed to the UK.
Jordan, what do you think of it?
I just think because of the tax incentive, the 32% tax incentive that Ireland has, it's very enticing for countries all around the world to come to Ireland to shoot in a locale that's similar to England's, very similar to England's. And I just think,
Do you have any opinions, Jake?
Yeah, with British crews being hindered in travel now that they're not part of the EU, Irish crews might get called out to do more production in the European Union.
Yeah, so do we think that there'd be more business coming into Ireland because of that, more companies coming over to Ireland from England, or?
It might make companies coming from England harder as well, though. Like Ireland has a lot of work with the UK. A lot of the big productions that have been filmed in Ireland have been co-productions with UK production houses and stuff. So if anything, it might make it harder for us to film with UK, especially if borders are put and stuff. And filming with the UK might be just much more difficult.
Yeah.
Especially for people going to and fro to Britain now, they're going to need to go through visas. They're going to have to, you're going to have to work a little harder. I don't think it's going to be that much harder to go over to England to work there as Irish, but it is going to be a struggle for certain people.
Yeah, and how do you feel it will impact people who, say, when business slows down in Ireland during the year, will travel over to England to find work? Do you feel it will impact them in any way, or will business come to Ireland?
I feel like some people, there'll still be reasons for people to go to England, reasons for people to come to Ireland. But I think it's going to be much more difficult for people going to England. But I think there will be more people coming to Ireland than England now, and I think the English media industry will suffer from that.
Do you believe that the Irish film industry will grow from this? Will we see more funding towards Irish films from like British production companies, and how do you think it will affect Ireland in that way?
I think it could affect Ireland negatively as well. Like if the pound is getting devalued, a lot of people might choose to go to the UK. Like obviously America isn't part of the EU anyway, so like I don't think that will affect them that much. But if the pound is getting devalued, it might just be cheaper for them to go to the UK as opposed to Ireland, because obviously like in terms of like the pound against the euro, it'll just be cheaper to go to the UK and like film in the UK as opposed to Ireland, which is like which is like one of the like negatives of it for us.
Yeah, I think people are already finding work in America, in Canada, and all over the world. I think it's just the convenience of Britain being in the EU that was enticing to those people. So I think it's going to be the same as working in Canada or America or any other foreign country.
That it's an English-speaking country.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel? Do you feel that the Irish government could help out in any way? Could it do anything like lower its tax rates or anything for production companies?
I feel like if it invested into the film industry more, like maybe give RT more funding, and then maybe more young talent might try to come to Ireland to get a piece of it to try to grow the industry, because we already have Oscar winners in Ireland. So
so go more through TV or more through film, or?
I'd say TV now, because it seems like TV is making a huge surge at the moment, like with Game of Thrones and like even Vikings filmed up in Ashford. I feel like the TV industry in Ireland's only growing and only get better.
Yeah,
I think definitely that like Ireland could capitalise on Brexit and make people coming to Ireland more like enticing to people if the government like invested in it and helped creators, make movies and stuff. It could definitely entice people to come here more.
Do you think that maybe setting up a scheme to help Irish filmmakers get funding for their films, so try to back more Irish filmmakers and Irish writers to try to get more Irish films out there, instead of funding British films, or how do you think that would work? Do you feel that the Irish government should push more towards that? And
I think both. Like, I mean, like, I don't think they should favor like just Irish creators, because like, especially like if Brexit does happen, it could bring more foreign creators over. So like, you backing just Irish creators wouldn't be the best thing necessarily, but just in general, backing the film industry. Like, I think in the UK, one of the biggest sources of income was their film industry, like last year or something like that. So I think Ireland could capitalise on that, especially get more foreign companies over, like from other companies from the EU. I'm sure would set up production houses more so in Ireland than the UK nowadays, if it's just easier to get into the country.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think it will have a negative impact on Britain? Do you think their film industry will decline, or will Ireland see an increase in theirs?
I feel like Britain have a fairly solid film production record, like, and even in their TV as well. Like, BBC making fantastic shows that are viewed around the world, like Sherlock and Luther. And I think that they're kind of set. I don't think it'll dent Britain's film production at all.
Yeah. Well, having big creators like Chris Nolan being from England, do you think that they would help out? You know, you have a lot of big names in Hollywood who come from England, you know, and they have a lot of Oscar winners, you know, big star names that they can still, you know, attract business there. Do you think that'll have any effect on them? Will they start producing more films in America, or will they stick in England?
I'd say they will move kind of from England, because since they'll try to stay as much in England as possible, because they've obviously been able to move freely throughout Europe. A lot of locations in movies in British directors' movies are filmed in England, so I don't think it will affect them as much.
Yeah.
But it will definitely, like for foreign locales, it will definitely affect them.
Yeah. And do you feel that this will affect the Irish film industry in the future? Will it have a knock-on effect and possibly, you know, lead to an increase of more Irish films?
It used to be that in years past, whenever something financial happened to Britain, it would have like a kind of knock-on effect to Ireland. But I think now Ireland is a bit more stable in the industry, and I think that, like, even though Britain will go through financial troubles now, I think Ireland will endure that. I think they're more independent now from Britain.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't think it would have like an enormous impact. I don't think it would like destroy the industry or anything. But like, I don't think it wouldn't just not have an effect. Like, obviously, I think a lot of production in Ireland is connected to the UK. So like, if their film industry goes down, like, so will ours in some way. Because like, I think it was The Room and stuff that was made with the UK as a co-production and stuff. So obviously, like, that would be harder to do.
There are other co-productions in Canada though that a lot of Irish made movies have been going to. I can't remember the exact name, but there are other options, and I know that France and Italy both have been close partners in the industry of film with Ireland. So they can always rely back on those countries as well.
Yeah,
but I do think that Ireland will have an effect on it, but I don't think it will have as big an effect as people would think.
Yeah.
I think we're a lot more independent now.
Well, do you think it would affect more TV or film? As would we see more the rise of more TV studios in Ireland, or would we see the rise of more films being made in Ireland, as crews would benefit off tax breaks in Ireland?
Bit of both. Just in general, I think a lot more will come. More studios, more TV studios, more film studios. Just the whole thing. I think it's just gonna Ireland. I think Ireland, if Brexit goes through, it's due a bit of a boom in the film industry.
Yeah, Oscar nominees like Lenny Abrahamson and Saoirse Ronan, and also John Crowley for, you know, the films they've made in the past years. You know, Ireland's building more of a reputation as a film country now. It's becoming more part of our culture than ever before.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, how do we think Britain will handle this? Do we think that they will go more towards trying to fund more English films and promote more British films, or just in general more diverse films? What's the plan of action for them, do you think?
I mean, I think they could do both. Like, I think the UK relies on a lot of like foreign talent, but like if if that gets kind of cut out, they would have to rely more on like their own talent, like in the UK and UK talent in general. But just because I'd say a lot of it comes from America, as opposed to from the EU, they won't really have to deal with it too much. I don't think their relationship with America would change all that much with them leaving the EU. If anything, again, like just the value of the pound, like it just might make it even better for them in terms of like American talent coming over. So that they might even be more willing to fund foreign things as well. Like if there is all these big productions coming over to them from America.
No, but do you think they'll focus more on money and be more concerned with growing the film industry rather than producing films for, artistic purpose, or how do you think they'll go about that?
I'd say they'd have a fairly even split for that, because art's important, but also at the end of the day, the production house to keep producing, they need to make money. So I'd say they'd probably have a split of it. Like, this is going to you making your amazing art film, and this is going to the next Transformers to just make a pile of money.
I don't think Brexit really had the arts. The people who orchestrated Brexit, especially, and people, I suppose people who voted for it as well, they didn't really have the arts in mind when Brexit was going through. So I feel they will suffer because of that, because it was never taken into consideration.
Yeah,
they never thought to themselves, this is going to have an impact as big as it will on our economy because of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you all for your input there. We will be cutting to an ad break, and we will be talking about our favourite directors up next. Hello, and welcome back. Now we will be talking about our favourite directors. So, who are your favourite directors, Vanya?
I think my favourite director would be Edgar Wright.
Mine would be Quentin Tarantino.
Mine would be Wes Anderson.
And why do you hold them in such high regard? Why do you think they're your favourite directors?
I think Edgar Wright has such a weird like style. Like it's such a mix of it's such a stylistic sort of movie. Like in terms of like just kind of everything in general, from camera to wardrobe to lights to everything. If you look at Baby Driver, one of the biggest things there is whenever he's with, because he's a getaway driver for like a crew or something, and whenever he's with them, he's wearing a white shirt with a black sort of jacket, and it's supposed to like symbolize like sort of how he's like stuck between these two worlds. Whenever he's with his like stepdad, he's wearing like pure white, like showing that he's much more comfortable in that situation. and he can show like so much character development. I think just through the like from everything from like just the way they're dressed to the way they're moving. The opening scene of Baby Driver again, he's walking away from the crew to get them coffee, and it's all bright and happy. The music that's playing is much happier. He's much happier, and like everything that's kind of happening on the way when he's walking away is like is going right for him, and then when he's walking back, he's like encountering police and stuff, and it's much darker, you know, showing that he's much less happy going back to them as he is leaving them. I think he just shows so much through style that it's just no one else really does it that way.
And Jordan,
I just think Tarantino's cool. I just love his movies. I think his writing, his plot. I think the plot's the best part for me. I think he writes movies like he picks a setting, he picks kind of a style for that movie, and then he just goes in when he has his cast come in. Like it's usually the same sort of people. But I just think his the plots he creates are just so interesting and so vivid, and so like in depth. I just feel like he has like so much more that he's not even showing on the screen. I feel like he's kind of withholding a lot that he couldn't put on the screen of backstory and a variety of different things and different aspects that just add to how amazing his movies are.
Yeah, the depth to his characters is amazing in his films. Yeah. And Jake, why would you hold?
Well, for Wes Anderson, I think he's one of the few directors that, and Edgar Wright would be another one. His movies benefited from multiple viewings. Like you could watch like Grand Budapest Hotel 17 times and still find something new that you didn't cop the first time you watched it.
Yeah.
And even like and the way he shoots his films, like so there's always a frame within a frame, and it's always stunning. And some people like plot over pretty pictures, but I'm kind of I'll take the pretty picture and don't mind the plot as long as it's against where we need to go. And like even in West End, in the Grand Budapest Hotel, the thing that kind of drives the plot, the boy with apple, in the first shot, because it's in the future.
Yeah.
You can see it in the lobby, so you know where it ends up. But you only cop that after your second or third viewing of it. And it's always amazing to find stuff that you never saw the first time around.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is all of your filmmakers that you've selected are still making films to this day. So who would you, who do you think overall would, if you can come to a collective agreement of who would you find is the best director solely out of those three?
Spec director is kind of based on taste, though, wouldn't it be? It'd be individuals.
But you think that one director has a certain body of work that's better than another, or how would you view their films? Would you view it as purely stylistic, or would you, look at it analytically and compare them in that sense?
I feel like if you look at it analytically, you like a lot of people can do it objectively well. I feel like you have to look at films through style and how they're and what your own personal preference is, because I feel like that has an impact on your enjoyment of the film. Because some people some people don't like Edgar Wright, which I find baffling. But because he's one of the best people to ever make movies. Even his transitions are interesting.
Oh, his transitions are insane.
Just
That's what I forgot to mention. Transitions are crazy.
Like
the one in Hot Fuzz, do you know when he's traveling from the city and he's traveling to the village he's going, and the jump cuts in the train. It's
brilliant.
They're crazy. Yeah, every transition that Edgar Wright just puts into his movies.
Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, when he's
one after the other.
They literally just have a character walk and he's talking away and he looks back and then it cuts back over here and it cuts back and they're in a different location.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful transition. You don't even notice it.
Do you know the one where he breaks up with his girlfriend that's in high school? I can't remember her name. Knives. Yeah. And he's on the train and he's traveling back and the editing where it's popping up pictures of Knives and how she's sad and he's sad and it's just that transition of he's just literally on a train, but it's showing his mood changing from sad that he's had to break up with someone to happy that he can go into a different relationship with someone else. His transitions are so unique. I just don't think you see that with anyone else.
No.
It's true.
It is hard to say a director because if you look at Quentin Tarantino, I think Quentin Tarantino is so focused on story. Obviously he has his own style in terms of shooting and filming and everything, but I think he's less stylistic than Edgar Wright would be, and much more focused on plot. like even though a lot of people like criticize Edgar Wright on plot and like his plots aren't the best, I disagree.
Yeah,
Like,
I
love
would
his plots.
disagree with that as well.
I think his plots and
Edgar Wright's
dialogue are
plots
really interesting, but
his dialogue's brilliant. It's
his
just,
dialogue's so
you can
witty.
get the story moving and have a laugh at the same time. It's just a brilliant thing to be able to do.
It's just like fast paced and witty. Like you're never bored listening to like the dialogue in an Edgar Wright movie.
No, not at all.
But I think if you prefer like just story, you would prefer Quentin Tarantino, because like Edgar Wright's stories are simpler if you look at them. Objectively, they're much simpler.
I mean, is the
stories.
Cornetto trilogy is all kind of like a theme. It's like a cop movie, a zombie movie, and like an alien type of movie.
I was trying to subvert the cop movie because in that final showdown on Hot Fuzz, Simon Pegg's character doesn't kill a single person. He doesn't. He just knocks them out or incapacitates them in some way. So like even his take on the action hero movie, the good guy doesn't kill anyone, which makes him an even better good guy. He arrests everyone he needs to arrest.
Yeah.
So do you feel that there's one aspect of their films that is extremely important? Say, would you value, say, writing to be the most important part of filmmaking, or their cinematography or style over what would make a director?
I think you need a good mix of like everything. Like I think if it's filmed real bad or really boring, but like the dialogue's interesting, you can get away with it. But I think when you have all of them like mixed together, I think that's like sort of the ideal solution, is having like a good style in terms of like in terms of like filming, an interesting style of like writing and everything. I think is very important.
I think personally, I would fall more back on writing. Obviously, what Vanny said is completely true. I think every aspect is extremely important. But I think without a good script, you're never going to have a good movie. You could have a good movie. You could have a movie look well. You could have a movie you could have decent dialogue, I suppose. But if the script isn't really good, if it isn't appealing to the audience, then I don't think it's going to do well at all.
I think because film is a visual medium, I think you can get away with, as long as the plot is passable. Like it doesn't need to be anything new or special or amazing. As long as the plot is passable, but it's shot like incredibly beautifully, you can get away with it because people will go see it to see for the visuals.
There are moments like that, like
Lord of the Rings, the walking shots in Lord of the Rings.
All right, but but it still had a good plot though. I still think the plot was good.
It did, but like I feel like there was holes in it. Like
there were holes in
like eagles. Come on.
Oh yeah, the eagles.
That's true, but you find plots in a lot of scripts. Even the best scripts have little plot holes. But I was saying about Watchmen, Zack Snyder's. The plot isn't. What is the plot? It looks amazing. I think that's the best aspect of that movie. That Watchmen looks, and the visuals is just fantastic.
But I mean, I think you can have. I think you can have both. Like you can have a very generic script, but like that it's shot amazingly, and I think you'll still like get a certain audience that will want to watch that. But if you get like the reverse of that, you'll still get an audience that will want to watch that. You know what I mean? Like I think there's people that prefer good filming over like a plot, and then people who prefer the flip side of that. I think it just depends on like who you ask, really.
And then there's some people that just don't care because Transformers are still getting made.
That's true.
So do you feel that there's any underrated directors working in the industry today?
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright?
I think Edgar Wright. So? If you look at like just like the box office, like in terms of like how much money his movies have made, Baby Driver is the only film of his that's done like really well. That film got over 200 million in the box office. None of his other movies have gotten even over 100 million.
Yeah.
Like he's just. You don't see much people talking about Edgar Wright, like that I've heard anyway. Like in terms of like best director, or, I just don't hear him in that talk as often as I think he should be, because I think he's so good at what he does. Like,
do you feel that there's any other directors that might be underrated?
Any other directors? I like Jon Favreau. I think he's decent enough of a director. I think he's kind of directed more kind of smaller projects that haven't really shot big. But I just still think he's a quality director.
Yeah.
Well, he directed Chef, didn't he? And he starred in it as well.
Yeah, he stars in a lot of them. Like even in the Iron Mans, he starred in those as well.
Well, I feel like Chef was one of like his most underrated movies. It's just a movie you'll watch to feel happy. And like he does it so well, and he just captures like with his use of music in it as well. It's all brilliant and just makes you feel happy.
And would you feel that there's any overrated directors working today?
Overrated.
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, definitely. We all agree on that. James Cameron, maybe. I feel like he's slightly overrated. I think he's still a good director, but I think he is overrated.
How so?
I think, well, like Avatar's, I mean, if you compare it to now to then, but back then it was a good spectacle to behold, but it was just really the plot of Pocahontas.
Yeah. So do you feel he's more rated so highly because of the money that his movies make rather than how good his movies are?
Yeah.
With Avatar grossing $2 billion.
Yeah, a lot of money.
I just don't think I don't think Avatar would like have been viewed as much nowadays, like as it was back then.
No, I think the sequels aren't going to be do
I
too
think
hotly.
they'll still attract the crowd just because James Cameron's name's on
I mean, I'm going to go see them.
I mean, I will too. Like, I feel like just because James Cameron's name's on it, like, oh well.
I mean, back in the day, Avatar was my favourite movie, but that was little me.
And do you feel directors get pigeonholed to certain types of films or certain tropes in their films, sort of like M. Night Shyamalan with his twists in his films? Do you think that can really hurt filmmakers, like their style can affect them?
I wouldn't think so. I think they choose their style and they try to stick to it as much as they can, or like if they're trying to break away from it, they'll do something noticeably to break away from it. Like I know, Jordan Peele directed Get Out, and that was obviously his first directorial thing. But before that, all he did was comedy and sketch comedy. So like, if you want to break away from your style, you're gonna have to do it in a big way to make a difference, or to make it someone notice it.
Yeah.
I feel like the style brings in people as well, so that's why they wouldn't really want to break away, because if it's not broken, you know, or is it the other way around?
Yeah. So it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, that one. So they shouldn't really like change if they are bringing in that demographic. If they're enjoying directing movies like that and still making money, if they're still making the movies they want to make, then
yeah, they should once people are still enjoying it. Yeah. Okay, thank you. We'll cut to another ad break now, and when we come back, we'll be talking about upcoming films in 2019. Hello and welcome back to the programme. Now we will be talking about upcoming films this year. So, what upcoming films are you all excited to see this year?
Oh, there's so many. I think one of the most excited for films is like Avengers Endgame. I think everyone's excited for that one. That one's I think there's so many films coming out this year. Like there's It 2 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is like I'm sure you're excited for.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
I think there's loads.
Yeah. Would there be one particular film that you'd be excited by?
I think I'm really excited for It 2. I think It really surprised me. It was the last year it came out, the first one. I was really surprised by like how well that one did. Because with horror movies nowadays, you just expect sort of jump scares and stuff. But it too, or it, the first one, sorry, was so much different to the other ones. It almost had a Stranger Things vibe. I think it also got it's gotten like loads of like attention, the first one. So like this one would more than likely be like more big budget with like good actors and stuff, like taking on the roles of the kids and stuff. I think it's a great potential to like.
You don't think it'll fall in any way? You think it'll stand up to the original?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult. Like it just depends on like whether they try to do too much now that the first one did so well. Like if they try to overdo it, it might flop. But I don't think it will. I think the directors are competent enough to like make it work. I think.
And Jordan, are you excited for any films?
There's so many films this year.
Yeah.
It's such a big year for film, but I have to say that I really enjoyed Infinity War last year, so I'd probably go for Endgame. But recently I saw, I know Vanya saw it, and I know I spoke to you about it earlier. The Hellboy trailer got like the newest Hellboy trailer for the reboot was just really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that movie is going to be much better than I thought it was from watching the original trailer.
Yeah, the first trailer for it was really bad.
It was really bad.
It was pretty bad.
I didn't expect it to do a true R rating, because if you do end up watching it, I don't know if you've seen it either.
I haven't seen the new trailer now.
No, you should watch it. It's cool. But it's going for a true R rating, which like blood, gore, you know.
I say that they're doing that though because of the success of like Deadpool and
oh yeah,
and
definitely.
They realise that realize that they can get away with doing it and still make a pile of money. So break it in. Like.
Yeah, which is good, really.
Yeah.
Are you excited for any films this year, Jake?
Again, that got two lads there. Endgame is going to be like probably the most viewed movie ever.
Yeah,
it's going to be. And I think one Zombieland 2 was announced. And just the first one was just so good that I can't imagine how they're going to make the second one better. But I think they will, and I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what films are coming out this year. So do you think that marketing in these films is going to play a huge part, because there's so many films coming out this summer that they're all going to be competing against each other and clashing heads? Do you think that they're going to have to market big time this year? Or?
Well, yeah, I think Hellboy actually is doing good for releasing a bad trailer first.
Yeah.
I think if they released the second trailer as the first trailer, I'd be like, that's pretty cool. But
no, that's true.
I'd want to see it maybe. But
I think the fact that they released the second trailer and that it's so good has really struck a chord. It's like the first one was really bad, so no interest was really made for it. Now suddenly people, I think it was trending on Twitter the day it came out, which is great for the film. I think it's doing well for its marketing.
Yeah, people were just really surprised that it actually had potential, and if anything, I think that increased it. But I think marketing obviously is a big thing. Even for them, they did more than likely they did accidentally. I don't think they wanted to release a bad trailer first. But yeah, I think it's probably the most important thing to get you excited. I don't think Endgame has to do much marketing though. I think everyone's going to see that.
After Infinity War.
I kind of rather they didn't. I would have rather not have trailers for that. I would rather just gone. It's this date. Come on.
Well, I appreciate what they've done. They've come out and said that the only trailers they will be releasing is just the first 15 minutes of the movie, and that's so far the trailers have only been the first 15 minutes, which I think is
the other problem I have with the marketing aspect of that movie in particular. They advertising Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes, that's
and
right.
Because of the events of Infinity War, and because of the events of Infinity War, we weren't sure we were going to get that. So I feel like it kind of takes some of the edge off Endgame, that we know what's going to happen.
I think they should have kept that.
They should have kept that until
next
after.
Year.
That should have been the first trailer you see in Endgame. It would have been a better shoot.
I agree.
And with films like Martin Scorsese's The Irishman coming to Netflix, and that's spending $250 million on it, do you think that films have to do more to get you to cinemas rather than staying at home and watching them on streaming services? Or
I don't think so. I think it's like with books. When e-readers come out, they're going to take over. They're not. People like a book. People like going to the cinema. There's something about cinema popcorn that just tastes better. It's the experience of going to the cinema is a part of the movie.
I don't know. I disagree. I think your comparison with the books and stuff. Both of those, you'll just sit at home and read. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's on a tablet or a book. I think people are just in general getting lazy. I think it's easier to sit on your couch and turn on Netflix and be like, oh, I may as well turn this movie on. Why not? You don't have to advertise as much. But if you I think less people nowadays will get up and go to the cinema. Especially with prices get
the general populace needs to be motivated a bit more to go to the cinema. Obviously, I will personally go to see the cinema with a lot of the movies we've spoke about. But I know a lot of people won't be. I expect to go whenever I go to the cinema nowadays. You know, usually you'd be worried about getting a good seat, but not really anymore. There's just no one in there.
Yeah. So do you feel streaming services are going to take over in that sense, or do you still feel that cinema has its place?
I don't think cinema will ever die though, because like there is something about the cinema
There is an
that
audience for it, like-
will draw people to it. I just think it's less so now than it like used to be. Like less people go to it.
See, I'm sad to say it, but I think like traditional cinema will die. I think it will be out the door sooner rather than later. Like I think because people are getting lazy, they will start gearing towards it. I don't want it to die. I'd love it to keep going.
No, I agree.
Forever.
I think it does.
But I feel like because
Some,
people
yeah.
are like, well, I could do that, or I could watch Netflix make an amazing Scorsese movie and just stay at home.
Yeah, especially with TVs getting bigger and so like eventually you'll
Yeah.
have like a TV size of your wall anyway,
Mm.
so you won't even need to go to the cinema for that.
And what's the major factor in you going to see a film or being excited for a film? Is it just good reviews, or is it just your interest in the film itself, just the people behind it, the director, writers, actors?
I don't think like good reviews I never really look at anymore. Like I think reviews just don't matter. If you look at The Last Jedi, like the Star Wars one, if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like over 90% critic reviews, but like less than 50 audience score. Like those reviews don't even matter anymore. Like I think it's just whether the plot is interesting. Like I like whether it's, if I find it interesting, I'll probably just go see it. More so than
I feel like word of mouth plays a big part. I feel like if like you know someone who's going to see it and like they know, like you trust their opinion. So now a few of my, like with The Last Jedi, I know a few of my mates went to see it and said it was awful, and then I loved it. I think it's one of the best Star Wars films ever made.
I don't want to get into it with him. Seriously, I've been in them with him.
I think it was one of the best Star Wars movies ever. It's top 4 for me. But
worst one for me.
Worse than. Really worse.
Really worse than Revenge of the Sith?
Oh,
Revenge of the Sith is alright.
I'd rather sit down and watch the prequels than watch that movie.
But Attack of the Clones,
The prequels have a
Anakin
charm
Skywalker
about them.
talking about sand on repeat.
They have a charm about them. Well, I also watched them as a kid, so
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
nostalgia for me with the prequels, but.
And is there any recent films that have delivered, in your opinion, sort of that you've been looking forward to, like Avengers, Infinity War, do you feel, or Star Wars? Yeah, quite underwhelming for you. Do you feel? Is there any others that you feel delivered or underwhelmed?
I think Into the Spider-Verse came out.
Yeah,
and it was like really like one of my favorite movies that I've seen in a while. Like really good. I thought it was.
It was fantastic.
Which I didn't expect.
It's the one that's on my list. I still haven't got to
Haven't
see it
seen
yet,
it,
and Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero. And like even like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy is like amazing. Like I would find no fault in that. Like even in 3 when like you should find fault in it. It's amazing.
I enjoyed 3. I know people feel about it, but I did enjoy it.
It's one that I've heard delivers like leaps and bounds ahead of like it delivers so much for what it should be, because people think that it's an animation and it's a kids movie, but it does well.
I think Into the Spider-Verse is like it's a really good like Spider-Man movie and like comic book movie, but I think it's just a good movie in general. Which like a lot of the time when people talk about comic book movies, it's like that's a good comic book movie. I think it's just a good movie.
It's also a good, very good comic book movie because
Yeah,
it looks like a comic book,
Yeah.
which I think is largely to its appeal.
The only other one I think that has had it's also a good movie is Logan. Because I think Logan was.
I think that delivered really well.
It delivered really well, and even to people who weren't into comics, I think could have gotten into that because it's just such a universal story that like we've seen before. It's just you need to take care of this person.
Yeah.
And like what happens with Logan, no one expected it to happen.
No.
Yeah. I really like Logan as well. Yeah.
Do you feel that there needs to be more original films made, sort of like Logan, or more franchise films made, or reboots made? You know, sort of like Toy Story, or It Chapter 2, and Avengers. Having franchise movies, or do you feel that they need to break off and make more original movies? Do you think it's becoming that franchise films are becoming too big of a focus for these studios?
I feel like the franchise movies will dilute the amount of like good, like artistically movies we'll see. Like I feel like because everyone's like, how are we gonna make? It's again for me, franchise movies will come down to the bottom line. They'll be like, we need to make a lot of money off this, so we can make another one. So we keep making lots of money. I think art will suffer because of franchise movies.
I think that's one of the greatest appeals of streaming services is that they're putting out like probably the most original movies, and I think that's why people are, because they're actually going, when you go to the cinema, you go there to see a big blockbuster that you know will be this big massive spectacle. When you go on Netflix and see this new TV show or this new movie that's just been made for Netflix, by Netflix, you see an original story and you see like creative ways of making that movie. I think that's...
Yeah, I agree. I think there needs to be more original work. Like if you look at the cinema, it's just all remakes and reboots nowadays, and it gets a bit boring, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like one franchise that did it well was John Wick, because I feel the first John Wick, like even stylistically, was amazing, and it was done well, and the second one didn't drop in quality. It kept going. So I'm excited. The third one's coming out this year, actually. So I'm excited to see how. I
still haven't seen them. I know. I need to
We've
get
only
to
watched
them.
the first one.
They don't dip in quality, and they hold up. And I think that's rare for franchise movies. Like, so obviously, Avengers is like they have very waning quality. Like, some of them are top, and then
like with Avengers, the first Avengers was good, and then Age of Ultron wasn't. People didn't like that one as much.
Like the first two Thor movies were god awful,
Yeah.
and then Taika Waititi took over and made it amazing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So as Jordan touched on, he was talking about how streaming services are making more original films. Do you think that this is the way forward, that we should be, watching Netflix and more original films and backing them?
I think so. I think we should be like backing originality, because like a lot of the remakes and reboots are just made for money. You know, like they'll reboot. Like if you reboot a franchise that already has an established fan base, that fan base will go to see it. So it's a guaranteed amount of money. That's why they'll make them constantly. Well, I think originality, like original movies, have such a, like they won't have that same sort of appeal to, like they won't have that much money.
A Star Is Born has been rebooted and remade 4 times in the past 80 years, I think it was, and they're going to keep doing it because it's keep making the money, so they're not going to stop.
Yeah. And now we'll cut to a commercial break and.
Up to see the holy ground once more.
Welcome back to the program. Now we will be talking about what area of work we want to get into. So, what specific area of the film industry do you want to get into?
I think editing or writing are probably my 2 favorite things. I'm kind of stuck between. I'm not too sure which of the 2 I want to go into. I think writing has such a is much more creative, while editing is like technical. I kind of like the both of them. I like the writing part. Obviously, you get to create your own worlds and stories and stuff, and you kind of get to create the movies. Whereas like editing is kind of the flip side of it, where you kind of piece the footage together, which is also interesting to me.
And Jordan, what
as Vanya said, what I would ideally like to go into is writing. I think writing is a great way of showing ideas that you've had for years that you want to kind of put on paper, even if it's just in a little script, to send them off. I think writing is very, it's a much more creative medium than a lot of other areas, and I think that appeals to me the most.
Yeah. And Jake, what would you be
I'm the exact opposite of the two of you. I couldn't stay far enough away from writing because, like, my area would be like I'd want to go into camera or lighting because there's a way to objectively do that correctly.
Oh, that's true.
When it comes to writing and creativity, that's all based on how people feel. And if I don't think personally I could like put something out there that I've created and then people go, oh, we hate that. I think that would break it.
I suppose at writing you have to be very consistent as well. You have to be good all the time. And with camera, you know how to use the camera.
I can set up a camera now and get in like a minute.
Do you not feel that with script writing that there also are, there's a structure to it? You can write a bad script and a good script.
I feel like you can, but I feel like good scripts can be misconstrued as bad scripts sometimes. Like I know, what was it Django
Unchained?
Yeah, Django Unchained. Tarantino got a lot of flack for that because it's like he was showing racism, and he's like, people accused him of being racist, and I remember Samuel Jackson going, he hires me. He's like my best mate. What are you talking about? Like
because of all the lines he had to say.
They had to say some words, and like even that is an amazing story, but it was still construed in such a bad way
because of the plot
of it.
So you see that as like a negative, but I just think the freedom of writing, like you can do so much with writing. Do you know what I mean? Like you can it just gives you so much freedom, and you have so much like such an open amount of things that you can do. Like you do anything, right? You could write a story about anything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like if you're like on camera and it's like I want this shot, and you're like, okay,
right, I can do that.
And then you just do that. There's like only so much you can do with it sometimes, especially if your director already knows or cinematographer knows exactly how you're supposed to do it, and then he's like, put that camera there, facing there, and then you just do it. There's just not that much creativity to that, and I think that's what kind of pushes me away from it.
Yeah, I'm not too worried. Like I do want to be creative, but it's always the fear of the creativity of if you put something out there, people are gonna hate it.
Yeah, that can always be.
They could love it, but I'm a pessimist, so they're gonna hate it. So like, it always is one of the things that stops me from like writing constantly because it's scary. It's one of the things that I have huge respect for anyone to do it. But it scares me to death.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Would there be anything that draws you to that specific area or basically inspires you or has inspired you to work in that field or want to?
I think most like movies I've watched that are like good have like inspired me in some way to write. Like every unique script or every unique story is like so interesting to me. Like how different everything is. Like Quentin Tarantino's dialogue I've always found like so insane. Like I think his dialogue is so good in his movies, and like that's always inspired me to write and like someday maybe get dialogue that's even close to what he writes. Or like Edgar Wright, like we were saying, is like with his witty dialogue and how like funny it is constantly. It's just all these like amazing directors and writers that just like make me want to write more.
And how do you feel about it, Jordan?
Well, I've been writing for a long time. I've been writing like plans for books, and like I wanted to be like an author years ago, but then I got into film and I saw that you could make your stories much more visible, and actually like as in a real world you can make that a real like almost reality. So that really appealed to me, that you could write a script and then put that to a screen and then to actually be able to watch back my stories instead of read them back. So I found that very appealing.
Yeah. And Jake, what about you?
I feel like the industry of film like attracted me in general because of we all watch movies, and especially as kids. When you're watching a film as kids, and you're just happy, and it's just the joy like of Toy Story. Remember how happy you are at the end of Toy Story? And like the emotion.
3.
No, don't talk about that. No, but like even Toy Story 3, the emotion you can get from film is amazing, and it's just such an amazing thing that like universally, the ending of Toy Story 3 will make the most hard man cry.
The fact that it can move you.
Yeah, the fact that it can move you, like,
and that you can move people
exactly.
as well.
Yeah, it's what like attracts you to the industry, because you want to be able to do that to someone else, to bring that emotion to someone else.
Yeah. And would there be any dream project that you just would like to work on? Anything you'd like a dream script you'd like to make, or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's loads of things. Like, and sci-fi has been like one of my favorite genres to watch forever, and obviously there's so many like ideas and stuff that I've like thought of, and it's like just not even, I'm not even near being able to make those, like, you know, with like no budget, or, you know, it's hard to make some of the things that I've like thought of, but like obviously making some of those things would be, you know, the end goal eventually.
Yeah.
I'd be the same as Vanya. There's just so many ideas that I have written down on paper, just kind of stuffed away into a bookshelf that I'd love to just pull out and adapt into a script and just to make into a reality.
But would there be any scripts you'd like to, or films you'd like to remake, rewrite?
A
or?
remake. I'd love to write a superhero film. I like superheroes.
Yeah.
Remake the awful DC movies.
Yeah.
All of them.
Remake the DC universe.
Yeah.
Do Batman v Superman correctly.
Yeah, correctly. Do it correctly, exactly.
But the only thing I'd worry about doing a Batman v Superman movie is every Batman will be compared to Christopher Nolan's. Every single one of them will be.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Just of how amazing that was.
I think the best way to like steer clear of that is because like Christopher Nolan's Batman is like so real world. I think if you remade it but then made it just more comic book,
yeah,
do you know, I think it would separate it from him a lot. Obviously you'd still get people comparing it, but I think less so that way.
And is there what career path is there for you to take to sort of get to where you want to be?
Just work wherever I can, really. Do you know, like anyone that'll hire me, just be like, yeah, that's fine. Like anywhere you can, I'd say.
I agree. It's with especially with the writing for me and Vanya, it's more we'd have to go into like camera work. We'd have to freelance or whatever. We'd have to do all of that and kind of do the writing as a hobby at the side. You can't really just jump into it. You kind of have to find a way to get into it as you go along on the other career paths.
Yeah. Would you have a set way, like getting an agent or applying for funding for a script, or trying to sell it?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I mean, that would obviously be a good like step forward towards it, you know. But I think you still have to like work kind of wherever you can
going
get.
Through it,
keep
like,
going through it.
Even Ridley Scott, he started out directing Brennan's commercials, like he did bread ads, and now he made Blade Runner.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
You'll have to just keep doing it and doing the things you don't want to do until you can get to do the ones you do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And as Jordan mentioned there, doing freelance work, would that interest you? Would you find that more interesting than like a regular safe job that you have?
I think it depends on like what freelance work I'd be doing. Like if I was like a freelance writer or something for like productions, I'd like. But if I was like just like a camera operator, I don't know how I feel about that necessarily. I think I'd prefer like the safety of a contract sometimes, but I don't know, I'm a bit 50-50 on the thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's like safety over, like doing a different thing constantly.
Yeah. And what do you think, Jordan?
I think freelance is very interesting to me. I think it keeps things interesting. I think if you have job security, like some people were there for a man came in to talk to us about a freelance work he did. He did for like matches and things. But I think the point he made is that if you were working in RTE, you'd be stationed in RTE and you'd have to do things you just wouldn't be interested in at all.
Yeah.
I like the idea of going and doing random things, even if there isn't job security. I think I'd just find it more enjoyable, and that's why I'm doing
more freedom. Yeah. And what about you, John?
I'd be similar enough. Freelancing would appeal to me for the variety of it. I think getting stuck doing the same thing every day is kind of what everyone's trying to avoid, no matter what you do. I feel like freelancing would be a good way to mix it up, because you'd never be in the same place twice. Or if you were at the same place, you'd be with different people and it'd all keep changing.
And what has sort of interested you in coming into this field? Was it just the work itself, being able to make films, or just working in the industry on set? Did you like that? Or?
I've always thought that like writing, like Jordan was saying earlier, like writing a story and then being able to like see it on screen, like seeing this like thing that you've kind of like thought of. That's always been so like cool to me. I've always like wanted to be able to see that kind of. I think that's like that's what's brought me into it from like the start. Like that's kind of always what I wanted to do.
I'd be the exact same. As I've said, that just to see it made in front of me to slowly but surely create a story is just really appealing.
I I feel like again for me, it's different for me again. I want to be part of any part of it. If I was any part of this industry, I'd be happy, because all I want to do is have my name at the end of something that made someone else happy or feel something. Like, instead of just doing like working a regular job, it has made someone happy or think, or has changed someone's opinion.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing nothing for your rest of your life. You know what I mean?
And do you feel that you've improved in college in the past year? Do you feel that it's really affected you and your work? You've been able to learn from it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like if I think of the first thing like that we did last year, like in comparison to like some of the things we're doing this year, it's like even like still it's not like amazing, but it's much better than like last year. I think last year one of the things I like messed up on a camera assignment was grainy. It was a mess. But yeah, I think I've improved a lot over the last year.
Yeah. And what about yourself?
Yeah, I think I've improved a lot over the last year as well. Actually know how a camera works now, and I know how to put it. I know how to work H4. And last year I was in a different course to use. It was in film effects. It was quite different because we were working on computers more so than we had practical classes in cinematography. But I just didn't learn as much as nearly as I did this year. And
yeah. What about yourself, Jake?
Yeah, I feel like since day one, we've been slowly getting better. Everything has been slightly less bad until we've gotten to a point where it looks good, but it's still not just there. Because obviously I'm a year behind all of you, so we're getting there, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. So you definitely feel that it's made a big impact. We've been able to.
Definitely because of it.
Cheers. Thank you for joining us today on our debate panel. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. Okay, so
You guys take this way too seriously.
Your turn.
Rap Diablo, yeah. Yeah. It's the Rap Diablo. Macho when I drop flows. Bar gets raised up. It's me and Petey Pablo. Colder than Gazpacho. Colder than the mono. Rapping head honcho. Rocking shows like I was Bono. I go. Play a couple keys on the piano. The industry a lie. All the promises were hollow. Follow me. I can show you where we bees at. How'd I get my G-Pass? None of your fucking beats.
I'm Jamie Lawler, an inventor of Kids Flush.
I have found that if you want to engage a child's cooperation, you've got to bring a fun element into it.
The kids loved it. It was easy to use, fun, and it was a win-win for everyone.
Join us in making toilet flushing fun.
She's taking my son off me.
Hi there, folks. Feel free to help yourselves to some team biscuits before we start.
Are you feeling okay?
No. I feel like fucking shit. I'm sweating buckets here.
Well, you can't back out now. You've only been here 5 minutes. Try not to think about it. I made you a cup of tea to help get your mind off things.
Sure. Thanks. Listen, I had this crazy mental dream last night.
Yeah? What was it about?
I was in some sort of forest.
Who's there?
We've missed you, son.
Why don't you go make yourself a cup of tea?
Sam. Sam,
Okay,
wake up.
just give him a minute. What the hell do you think you're doing?
What the hell are you talking about?
Your sister's in there crying her eyes out. Couldn't you have at least called to say you weren't going to make it?
I swear I
Don't
forgot.
fucking bullshit me, Sam. Kay needs you. I need you.
Please, just don't do this to me.
Listen. Get your shit together, or we're done. I can't keep pulling the weight around here.
Katie, I swear, I'm so
so sorry. Fuck you. Where were you, Sam? I needed you. Mom needed you. It's okay now. I'm here. Come on. You're all I've got left. It's just the two of us. Things have to change. I can't lose you two. You won't. Hello? Who is it?
You know who this is.
Oh, hey Mixer. How are you getting on?
This isn't a social call, Sam. Where's that 250 quid for the gear you owed me last week, eh?
I don't have it right now. Like, my ma just died, like.
Oh, great. So she'll leave you something in her will, will she?
How about I can get you the money later on, maybe?
I don't have time for this. I buy, I sell, I pay my workers a fair price. You really want to throw a wrench into the works? You can imagine how upset they'd be if they didn't get paid.
Could you just be grand? Like, me ma just died.
Listen, Sam. You either pay up or I collect your fucking head.
You had one job. One fucking job. Put the guns in the bag before you leave. How did you fuck that up?
I said I was sorry. Like, I don't see what the big problem is. Like, we can still nab the guy when he comes out.
With what fuckstick? You think he's just going to roll over and give himself up without fight?
Well, I did, but now he's saying that it rather sounds kind of stupid coming out of your mouth.
Did you at least remember the CD?
I don't see how that could help us.
Because I'm about 2 seconds from putting my fist through something. And it might as well be you.
How are you, Mark?
Oh, hi Sam, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back. Listen, I'm gonna go talk to Ted for a minute, yeah?
Yeah, that's absolutely no problem.
What do you want?
A favour.
Look, I'm not interested. Besides, I can't.
You don't even know what I want from you at this point.
Look, the only time you want stuff off me is when you want money, and I ain't exactly swimming in it at the moment.
It's Mixer, right? She's gonna kill me if I don't get money to her soon.
Well, I suggest you save every penny you have and pay her back then, right?
It's just a quick favour. Like, think about all the times that I've helped you back then. Please.
Look, get this through your thick skull, kid. Right? You need to sort out your life while you still have one.
Please. It's just a quick loan. I swear I'll pay it back.
Non-fucking negotiable.
Alright folks, gather round. So, who'd like to go first?
I'll go first. Come on, bud. You know she'll go mad if you're not back in time. go to the cinema next week. We'll see Star Wars. We'll get some popcorn. We'll have some. We'll even have a seafoam. How do we go?
Where the fuck have you been?
What are you talking about? It's only 2:15. You said to be back by 3.
I have some news for you. My solicitor has applied for sole custody.
Since when?
Since now, you'll get the notice on Monday.
Look, he doesn't even want to live with you.
It's not what he wants, or you want. It's what I want, and what the courts will give me. And you know full well it's a given, because you're a fucking hophead.
You listen here. I've been clean for 6 months, and my solicitor can adhere to that, alright?
I couldn't care less, because by the time the welfare report is done, we'll have been through the courts, and he'll be old enough to drive.
Kill you. Fucking evil bitch.
Oh, did I mention? We'll be
What?
seeking that you pay the full costs.
Yeah.
Typical! Typical! Go do it a coke or some Xanax, you can't!
Thank you, and thanks everybody for being so supportive. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ed. Jim, come on in, take a seat. So, I was hoping that at this point we could discuss last week's incident.
Incident? What?
So no one wants to own up. Look, I get that it's difficult. It's why we're here. For those of us who aren't aware, a bag of cocaine was found in the men's bathrooms last week. Look, I get that it's difficult. Like I said, it's why we're here. But this is unacceptable. I don't want it ever brought in here. So can whoever brought it please just own up to it?
Are you sure this is from last week?
Certain. It was found on Thursday night, and we have cleaners in here every night. Come on, folks. No one will judge you if you just own up.
Everybody has a routine. Everybody goes about their daily lives, goes to work, spends time with the ones we love, our friends and family. And it's easy to forget how suddenly we might need someone else's help. For me, it's become a part of my everyday life. All community first responders are volunteers, so the motivation to do this has to come from within. Of course, we're just normal people, so the training we have is vital, as well as the equipment. As a first responder, I'm constantly reminded that life is fragile. We serve our community by attending emergency medical situations and treat patients before the ambulance arrives. It's also not just about the patient. It's important to remember it's also an emergency situation for the patient's family. We can offer them reassurance and support. I guess I just love waking up in the morning, knowing I could save somebody's life. We might have 10 minutes to get there, we might have 10 seconds, but sometimes that could be enough.
We are from Bray Institute of Further Education, and we are going to be performing Martin Crimp's Attempts on Her Life.
Over this whole process, we've been trying to figure out who is Anne and where is she?
Help us figure out these questions. Tuesday the 13th and Wednesday the 14th of March at 8 p.m. in the Mermaid Theatre in Bray.
Tickets €5 before the show dates and €8 on the night.
Okay, I'll drop it for now, but rest assured, I am sure that by the end of tonight we will find a way to deal with this. That's all I want to say, so back to you guys.
I'd like to say a few words. Well, I woke up this morning not knowing how to get through the day. It's not like my life's difficult or anything. It's just there's nothing to do except avoid getting wider. I needed something to take the edge off, so I ransacked the bathroom cabinet and I couldn't find a damn thing. It was Xanax, diazepam, and even Solpadeine with Nerfen Plus. I don't think I finished them. So I searched the house. Come on. Where are they? I need them. I need some. Yeah, I'm not feeling great. I think it's the flu. I was wondering, could you do me a favour? Yeah, I have a rotten dose of the flu. I was wondering, would you be able to go get me some, okay, no worries. Thanks anyway. Yeah, how are you? I was wondering, would you be able to go to the pharmacy for me? Okay, thanks anyway. Just some Solpadeine. I'm in serious pain, I'm not joking. My head is sore and my eyes, they burn like hell. Please, I'll do anything. Jim, aren't you supposed to be at work?
Yeah, 2 hours ago. Now I'm home. You off somewhere
Going for a coffee. My name is Jim. How you doing?
Fine. Why are you going to the pharmacy?
I'm sore head.
How far will you have to travel to find a pharmacist that'll actually serve you? And the sore head will go away if you just quit. It's withdrawal.
But...
No buts, I'm not letting you go.
Sorry. So that's why I'm back. I know it's been a while. I thought I could kick that stuff by myself, but now I know I need the support.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Linda. Mia, you've been quiet so far. How are you?
I'm doing good.
That's good to hear. Is there anything you'd like to share with the group? What's said here in this meeting stays here with us. Try something small.
Well, my friend Katie told me about this meeting.
It's really weird. Who watches their sister sleep?
But like, she was being nice and giving them the laptop though.
Yeah, but like, if your brother or your sister or anyone's nice to you,
brother and sister don't do that.
But like, wouldn't you be creeped out if you woke
Well,
up
yes,
and they were just
yes.
like looking at you?
Yeah, it'd be creepy if anyone did that.
We've got to go. Oh, bye guys. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure.
I don't want to upset you or anything, but I noticed you've been smoking a lot lately. Is everything okay?
I don't know. Seems to be helped me quite a bit, but like my parents are at my neck about the leaving and all, and the homework and shit is just really getting to me. I seem to be coping with the pressure, but like it's just too much, you know?
Oh, you know, my brother is an addict. He was there in a really bad way, but then he started going to this meeting in town, and it really helped him. Not that you're an addict, but maybe it could help you too.
When's our next meeting? Thanks, guys. I really needed that.
Are you fucking serious? Like, harsh. What a load of bullshit.
Colin, we will have none of that here. We are here to help people, not hinder them.
Yeah, even when their stories are a load of bollocks.
Enough! You know, it wasn't too long ago that I was sitting where you are now. I had my troubles. I was up to my neck with the wrong crowd. I saw no way out. But I still persevere. So if you ever come across someone trying to laugh in your face, just know that there's always someone here to help. So, who wants to go next?
Hello, my name is Jim. I came here today to support my wife Linda, my own pride and joy. And now that I'm in this safe environment, I feel compelled to tell you all the truth I just haven't been able to face.
I was thinking about opening a yoga studio. There's this place around the corner I think would be perfect.
Great idea. I'm so glad you're moving on with your life.
I know! I can hardly believe it myself sometimes. And you know, it's not like I don't get depressed anymore. But when I picture myself this time last year, I realise just how far I've come. And I couldn't have done that without you.
Oh, stop it. That was all you.
Nah, I'm serious. You've been there. For both me and Sam. I only wish he'd be more like you.
So I've been on Tinder 6 months now.
What? You decide to tell me this in front of all these people?
It just felt right. Space felt safe.
Like that time you told me to marry you on the fucking radio and I couldn't refuse!
Oh man, shit just got real.
Linda. Linda.
I want a divorce!
Seriously?
Alright, so that's about all the time we have for today, folks. I hope this has helped, and let's hope to have the same next week.
Listen, please. I really need your help here. Look, if you need help, go talk to Mark. I have work to do, and I haven't got time for this bullshit. Listen, I'm a dead fucking man here. Listen, Sam, I'm tired of bullshit. Now, fuck off. Fuck off. Okay, now, alright, okay.
You kept me waiting, Sam. Nobody keeps me waiting.
You're late, man. Your drink's warm.
It's all good. Listen, I have something to tell you.
What is it?
It's big. It's real big.
Go on.
Alright, so I was in Centra earlier today getting a roll for lunch, and guess who strolls on in?
Your dad. I don't fucking know who.
Testy today, aren't you? Anyway, no, not my dad. It was Jimmy Doyle.
Patrick Doyle's young fella. The drug lord's kid?
I mean, do you know any other? Anyways, listen, I saw an opportunity to grab some cash out of his pocket.
Are you fucking thick? Like, seriously?
Fuck off. I'm a genius, and you love me.
The fuck is this?
It's a little black book.
I can fucking tell that. Why do you have it? Why'd you have to rob him?
How are you, man? Yeah, this is Jono from the local. Yeah, that Jono. Anyways, there was a couple of youngsters in earlier. They were talking about robbing your son's pocket.
See, what happened was, I slipped my hand into his pocket and felt leather, so I grabbed it and then scarpered it. So then when I stopped to grab the money and fuck it away, I seen it was actually a little notebook.
What use is it? Fuck it away, man.
Think, we can make some fucking cash. Blackmail them.
You've lost your fucking
It's
mind.
full of contacts and his dad's meet-up spots and all his plans.
You want to blackmail Patrick Doyle? The fuck, man, you can't do that. That's so fucking dumb.
So they have info on your exploits. No, I'm minding my own business. I just, want to make sure nothing bad happens at this end.
Listen, we blackmail little Jimmy, not Patrick. Why is he going around with all his dad's plans anyway? Not for any reason known to his daddy, I'll bet.
Get rid of it. That's all I'm gonna say. Get rid of it.
Actually, I gotta go. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Shannon, for fuck's sake.
State your name for the record.
No, you can read it yourself.
Are you getting smart with me, Steve?
Given the fact it took so long for you to find me, I think I'm pretty smart.
Did you pack the bags yourself?
Packed a lot of bags when onto that plane.
God damn it, my wife was on that plane!
Good.
Have you ever thought about studying abroad? This is a chance to change your life. SETA College offers scholarships to help you reach your goals. Make your dreams come true. Study in Ireland. Learn a new language. Experience different cultures. Make friends from all over the world. Join in, apply now. Change your life. Live your dream.
Is it rolling? What's happening? Yeah? We'll have to do it properly. What's been happening since it began? Are you still singing? Same boring song. One with the chorus goes on and on. And Andy Bell's bass line look like a fire. One mellow, stop the phone there with the call back.
The values of Tiglin, it's Christianity based, so they're there for you. They talk to you. I was about to leave one day and they said you're going to throw it all away, but yeah, just talking to each other.
Would you like sugar and milk? Black tea. Any sugar?
So one day I was walking down the street about 2.5 years ago, and a friend of mine that used to use drugs, I haven't seen him for about 2 or 3 years, and I seen him, but he looked great. There was a shine off him. I said, wow. I walked out and said, how are you? He said, grand. I said, how are you looking so good? He said, I went to a place called Tiglin. Never even heard of it in my life, you know. I said, what's this all about? He said, it's a Christian rehab down in, I said, what, all this Jesus stuff? And I said, no, forget about it now. And he said, you look terrible, what's up? He said, would you not give it a try? So I took my phone, he said, yeah, take this number and give it a ring. So I was playing on my mind all that night, you know. I went out using drugs and I went home and I had a big argument with her. She said, you need to do something, if not, you're gone. So at the start I was down at the police, so I said, look, I got a number off Joe, his name is. I said, I'll ring it tomorrow. So I rang this number and I got through to Sean Donoghue in the lighthouse. Sean came to my house to me. He said, look, he told me about Tig Lane. He said, look, give her a go, you've nothing to lose. So she was pleading with me, please, please, please. But while I was doing that talk to him, all I was interested in, look, get him out of here. Had drugs in the bedroom, wanted to go in and use my drugs. So that happened, went in and used my drugs. She threw me out. Ended up sleeping on the streets for about a week. You know, back and forth in people's house, partying. And then one night I just had a slashing rain, I think, and I just, you know, was soaked, nowhere to go, no money, going through a sickness, no money for drugs. My child's gone, everything gone. Lost everything. Had enough.
Youth, I had a businessman in a suit sit down beside me and tell me his problems. You know what I mean?
You're telling me your problems.
Yeah,
yeah.
Man, you probably have a big Georgia Manny suit on you, you know what I mean? And you have a jag around the corner and you're telling me your problems, you know?
But maybe it is nice just to like
Yeah.
for once, just to kind of like
Yeah,
maybe
and-
listen. Yeah, it's for a change, like you know what I mean.
Okay, you can let them rock.
I went to another place, Remar.
And how'd you get on there?
I actually liked it. I was there 3 months. Oh, sorry, 3 months. 11 months. Sorry. There's
And
no way. It's not like Tigling. There's no facilities for when you leave. When you leave, you literally get your
It's
check,
just
out
back
the door,
again.
see you later.
And then
you leave Tigling, you have the place down. There's a Greystones, you have the house.
Greystones, Carrick-Eden, yeah.
No, that's what you need in place, half the care and stuff, so. It's not good.
Reintroducing into like society. Like.
That's it, there's no point just going from.
You can't just go from 100 to 0
Back
and
where you
no-
came
no
from.
point.
Yeah.
No, it's just black.
Oh, black
right.
Yeah, it just doesn't work, so.
We went downhill and people are actually being thrown out of their houses by banks and building societies. So that's going to make stress on all the homeless services, not just ourselves, all the hostels, there's hotels being used and everything else. So
through my addiction, I stole things from my family. You know, I took a camcorder on my sister, and on that camcorder I had a memory chip of photographs and recordings of my nephew who passed away, and that was his guardian. So I stole memories from her. I wasn't kicked out of my home. Guilt and shame brought me out of my mother's home, back onto the streets. You know, and when I went to Tig Lane, it was the one thing I wanted was to see my family. You know, just to say, I'm sorry.
Relationship with my kids are absolutely brilliant, you know. I'll give you, when I graduated from Tig Lane, the young lad was there, he was 12 at the time. And I went over, gave him a hug, I said, come here son, and he's tall, I love you, right? And when I said that, he kind of backed off, you know, because he never heard me say that to him, I love you. My love was to be here, look at these 10 euro down in the shop, I'd be gone in the room to use my drugs, just to get rid of him out of the house, so stuff like that. So when I told him I loved him, he knew I meant it, you know, and you could see the tears in his eyes. I broke down in front of everybody, you know, but relationship today with the kids are absolutely amazing, you know. They're so proud of me, you know. They smile every day now, they can sleep at night, you know, they don't have any worries. Look at, we go on a holiday, we're going away next year, our first family holiday in a good few years, so we're all excited for that, you know. I'm just trying to live life, just a normal life now, you know. Just
How long will you stay here for?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, an hour or so. I mean, as long as the amp holds on me, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm trying to.
I've done 3 years in Victory Outreach, a year in Remar. You know, I really just want to get back to work. You know, get back to the real world.
How can you
know?
hold down a job if you're still using, you know?
Because if I have a job, I wouldn't be using it. It's like literally I'm on the streets. That's why I'm
But
using.
if I give you a job tomorrow, if I hired you tomorrow, you wouldn't be able to kick it tomorrow. You know?
No, it'd take me a couple of days, obviously. Like,
Would you definitely go for it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Do you just
of course.
take it now just to get you through these cold
That's
nights?
all.
like?
Yeah, just to do this, I wouldn't have the wherewithal to do this without it. That's being honest. I'd be too embarrassed and shy. Couldn't talk to people or anything like that. You know, so that's what I do. It's a means to an end at the moment. You know, but I can see where it's going. I'm going down a slippery slope, and unless I get some kind of accommodation soon, I'm going to end up, as it says in the Bible, as the dog returns to his vomit, so I feel returns to his folly. You know.
How did you get involved with working with the bus outreach?
I'm a driver for Dublin Bus. Been a driver there for 21 years, and we have a Facebook group. And somebody basically put up, we need drivers. And I said, well, there's somebody who needs somebody with my skill sets. And I said, I'll get involved in that. And when I got involved and met all the homeless people and various addicts and everything else that goes with it, just so fulfilling actually to hear their stories, as sad as they are. Some of them are very uplifting because they're on their way back out of the depths of where they've been. And so I've just kept it on since 18 months ago.
And you have no personal connection towards anyone homeless, or?
No, I've had a few friends. I'm from Ballymun originally, and I have friends who have gone through drug addiction, but that wasn't my main objective here. I actually have a very soft spot for homeless people and homelessness.
Tiggling is a place where you get your dignity back, where you're given that little bit of hope back. Because living on the street, you've no hope. You know, you lose all self-respect of yourself. You know, and coming here, you're shown love, you're shown that you're cared for, that you're seen as a human being, that we look beyond all the rags that you have on you, the clothes that you have on you. We see what's really behind all that. You know what I mean? We see a human being. We see a person called David, Eddie. We see a girl called Catherine, Denise. We see a mother's son, a mother's daughter, a brother's, a father. You know, we see human beings. You know what I mean? And they love this because they're being shown that they're actually cared for, where they couldn't get that in their own home and they can't get it out on the street.
Compassion.
Compassion, yeah, compassion.
It's kind of a variety show. So the name of the show is Kinesphere. So it's about kind of reaching your limits. So the Kinesphere is like the area around you and around your body. So it's about really like kind of pushing the boundaries in our dance, and yeah, it's a bit of fun as well. So.
How am I involved in this project? Oh, that's a really good question. A number of years ago, I got very interested in motion capture, primarily to work not with a dance group but in game design.
Basically, our tutor wants to do a piece in the show using motion capture for the first time. I think from what we know, our course is the first course ever to try this in Ireland, and also from what we know, we're the only ones with the suit. So she decided to order it in, and here we are.
It's like I said, it's quite recent that this technology is available. Full stop. There are about 3 competing systems, all using the same sort of idea. So there's 3 pieces of technology in the suit. You've got a magnetometer, which measures the intensity of a magnetic field. So each sensor can measure the distance to the previous sensor or to the other ones. So relative to each other, it's very accurate to know the distance. Then they've got a gyroscope in them for rotation and an accelerometer in them for tilt. And these are all things that you'd find in your mobile phone.
Well, I'm actually the person like in the suit. So the 3 of us will be dancing, but the avatars are going to be reacting to my movement.
It's just a celebration of all of the stuff we've done and all of our hard work this year. So,
but I think in general, it's just about really showing off, well, our skills for one, and kind of just sharing our art form with everyone and the audience, and yeah, kind of getting them actively involved in the art in the community.
So at the moment we're looking at the virtual characters that Noel has created in the Unity software with the motion capture. They are lit in a certain way in Unity, and we're thinking of maybe lighting the live performers to the same way for certain sections, and then for other sections using the performers moving around stage to trigger lights that follow them.
It's yeah, a little bit kind of tedious sometimes. Like sometimes you'll have a really good day where everything's working perfectly, and then other days there's one or two problems, but it's just a matter of doing everything again and again until you get it. It's always worth it in the end, so.
Well, it's a dance show, obviously, but it's more about performing. So we have some of the actors doing voice in the show, and we have us doing kind of physical theatre in it. But I suppose it's more about our journey, how we got from first year to third year. And obviously now we've included second years and first years, so it's starting their journey as well.
Is anyone there? Where am I? What the hell is going on? What is this place?
This place is your head. What a weird, messed up, confused place to be.
What the hell is going on?
What do you think is going on? We're in your head. Because you're going mad.
Will you go away? I don't need you right now. I'm dealing with enough.
I know. Apparently you're gay and depressed. That shit is hilarious.
Eric, don't listen to him.
What are you doing here? Get out.
Don't let the depression win. Don't let Marcus into your head.
It's a bit late for that, don't you think? I'm already inside his head. And winning.
You're not going to win. All he has to do is remember that he's...
Enough! I don't have anyone. I don't need anyone.
You do have people. I'm here to show you.
Alicia, what are you doing here?
I'm here because I'm your sister and I care about you.
No one cares about you. You're just a freak. A faggot.
Don't listen to him.
Be quiet. I don't care anymore. I'm better than you.
Just wake up and talk to us.
Just wake up.
Wake up. Wake up. Just wake up.
Define it, like in one sentence. Time consuming.
Fun, but hard. The high points are when you get to the point where you realise you think you know something and then you don't, and there's more to learn.
I definitely like designing and planning what you want to do.
Everyone in the group is like really friendly. So like you meet a lot of people, like I've met a lot of new people, and as well as that, like working with them together, everyone teaches you like a lot of things that like they know, and you teach them a lot of things they know.
Planning it out on paper, you know, kind of completely designing it, you know what I mean?
The low points are always when you can't figure out a problem, and you're stuck on a problem, you could be stuck on it for a week.
Coding would be a low point, but that's just a whole progression thing. Getting much better at coding just takes time, and you gotta just put in what you get out of it, you know what I mean? Definitely sitting down all the time, or on a PC, like on an average day, I'd spend about 9 hours at a PC, you know, and that's just not healthy at all.
It gets you to grips with a lot of other things other than like just making games. So far, like I've learned a lot more about like maths and business, like the business side of run the company, as well as like we've learned like making websites and like presenting yourself as a business online.
Well, like game design, you can go into a lot of fields. So if you're really kind of a working man or you want to go into a job, like game design, it opens up a lot.
Just in this course, I've learned not just in game design, I've learned animation, I've learned coding, I've learned like game analysis, web design. I've learned a lot, so I can branch off into anything that I kind of feel more comfortable in.
I think like in America there's a lot more, it's not more demand in America for like artists and everyone who's making games kind of for companies, because it's a wider like region, so there's a lot more companies around. There isn't a lot like of known companies in Ireland that would really be requesting people, so it is kind of, it's hard if you're living in Ireland.
But even so, like independent companies, they can just upload online. It's not, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection and a good computer, you can like just make a game for the Play Store and upload it then.
Yeah, monetizing seems to be a very good way for an indie developer to make a little bit of money, you know, putting ads on applications and uploading it to Google Play Store. That seems to be a very kind of quick and easy, well, not quick and easy, but a very reasonable way to make money from games. And obviously progressing onto that, you'd want to go with Steam, getting your game greenlit, so on, you know, and then you can just become an amazing company and just be like, yo, we're blasting out a game, everyone buy it, you know, have that 70 quid price bracket on it. That would be wonderful. Yeah, definitely do it, and definitely take the time to learn it, because learning games development, you don't see it like that. See it as learning brand new skills, because learning games development, you're also learning animation, you're also learning how to graphic things, you know, you're also learning Illustrator, you know, you could become a graphic designer, you know what I mean?
You really wanted to make games, that it doesn't matter if there's a company around for you to make it.
We are from Bray Institute of Further Education, and we are going to be performing Martin Crimp's Attempts on Her Life. Over this whole process, we've been trying to figure out who is Anne and where is she? Help us figure out these questions. Tuesday the 13th and Wednesday the 14th of March at 8 p.m. in the Mermaid Theatre in Bray. Tickets €5 before the show dates and €8 on the night.
Fashion is what you buy, but style is how you wear it. Step into an oasis of calm and class. Allow us to help you find your style for any occasion. Ashanti Gold Boutique. Passionate about personal service.
Hope to see
Harbour Bar Bray, voted the best bar in the world. Come along and join us. Pull up a stool and sample the perfect pint. The crack is always mighty. The fire is always burning and Raoul is always smiling. The Harbour Bar Bray, my harbour.
Classic Garage came about because of a lifetime interest in classic cars that my father had and that I inherited from him. I can remember as a child of about 10 or 11 years of age driving along with Dad in one of his cars and leaning on the back of the seat watching the speedometer needle rising up to 50 or 60 miles an hour. We thought we were flying. Not like today's cars were 70s at ease. I can remember building engines, taking dents out of cars and watching the lovely way that Dad went about fixing a job. We tried to use the old style tools that fit the period of the car. For instance, in our workshop, our ramp is from about the 1950s, and our pillar drill came from the 40s. The lathe we have came out in 1941. Our oil dispensers are from the 50s and 60s, so they kind of fit the job. At the garage, we can offer most of the skills to put a bag of nuts and bolts back together as a beautiful classic car, make it safe on the road and enjoyable to use. The cars that we work on here at the garage are quite often built because somebody's grandfather had them or somebody's father had them, and they're going to be somebody's sons or somebody's daughter. They're going to get them, and they build them out of an old interest and a love for the classic car and a love for the old style motors.
Welcome to BIFE TV. My name is Jamie and I'm here joined by 3 actors from the third year acting course. We're going to just talk about acting, how it's changed, and different views on acting. So the first question I have is just, should actors be political, in your opinion?
I feel like it's not necessarily their role. They don't have to be political. They shouldn't be like the role models for society, because people should have their own opinions and people should make their own informed decisions and not necessarily look up to celebrities and actors for that. But it is important for them to maybe take a stand on things they feel passionate about and to be aware of like the political climate of the time and everything, and how like maybe roles they take would affect that.
To be honest, I don't really care if they're political or not. As long as they kind of just produce good content, they can be far right, far left. It doesn't really bother me. And I don't think that they should really, I honestly don't think they should voice their opinions on big subjects like elections and stuff, because that can influence younger people and younger generations to kind of go against what they would maybe normally choose or what they've been brought up with in their life.
I think that while that is like true, they don't maybe need to do that. I think that it is, the fact of the matter is they are role models in a lot of situations. Like a lot of people look up to actors, so they need to be careful on what exactly they say. So if they are being political or not, you know, that has an effect on an audience. Like to use an example, Chris Pratt with his recently he had an interview with somebody and was talking about his church, and the interviewer didn't bring up like the fact that the church was very anti-LGBT, and another actress, Ellen Page, tweeted on like their post, which like on like calling them out, basically just saying like you should have mentioned this, because not saying that I don't think that Chris Pratt is explicitly anti-LGBT, but being part of that, he has an audience and that affects his viewers, and not that it should, but that's the fact of the matter is it does. So it is very important whenever they don't have or do have an opinion.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think acting has changed even since you started or since the beginning of acting?
I think it's always changing. That's a very vague answer, but like I think acting cannot be defined as one thing that then changes to another thing, because acting is like it's performance based. So anything you do that people look at and watch, like that comes roughly under the acting umbrella, is all different forms of acting. And I think in that sense, it can't really change. It can only evolve.
Like when acting like first started, it was all about like kind of creating a fantasy, and like it was all very dramatic and like over the top. And now it's a lot more to do with like when you're watching something, you want it to be as realistic as possible. Like you want to believe it, you want to see yourself. Like you want, well, at least you want your audience to see themselves there or to like relate to it. So in that way, it's changed.
You still have the pantomimes,
but you still have,
and you still have the over dramatic
that
work, and you still have
stuff.
those movies which are completely and utterly fake, like made to be this fantasy. Like I mean, Avatar, great movie, but like it's not real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's not going to be realistic.
Like the
But so there's the two sides of the thing in Avatar, is that the world is maybe not believable because it's so far out, but the acting is done as if these are real people in this world, and so it is very naturalistic, which is the word we use to describe it.
I suppose a lot of TV and film acting could be quite naturalistic. Then there are some kind of ones where they're not, like a lot of the Monty Python ones are not realistic at all.
Yeah.
I think that's done on purpose for comedical effect.
Yeah, there is still
So-
like
sorry.
definitely where they go like over the top, and it's all very. It's not meant. You're not meant to find it realistic. It's just for entertainment.
Yeah.
But like now, like if you want to, I suppose if you want to win an Oscar or like become like really known for your acting, it's all about really making a believable performance.
So I think that the answer would maybe be like there's two things. So what's popular has definitely changed, and the acting itself hasn't changed. It's just evolved and added stuff, but none of the old stuff is necessarily gone. So it hasn't fully changed to be what we see now. It's just got more.
Do you have a favorite genre to act in, or something like that? What way you would act? Like, do you prefer the realistic acting or those far out there kind of Monty Python kind of performances?
Mine is horror, I would say, which is unrealistic. But then you can also have a realistic performance in it. But like, I love that kind of the really over the top, scary stuff, but also the like stuff where it just more terrifies you because it's psychological, like in like Silence of the Lambs or like
Even
maybe
Taken in a way.
yeah, stuff like that. And like that's my kind of favorite
Psychological
acting. Even though
thriller.
people wouldn't say that's very good acting, like horror genre isn't really known for the best acting,
Yeah.
but like that, just those kind of stories intrigue me the most.
Yeah. No, you can.
Okay. I think I'd quite enjoy doing naturalistic acting, which is the, like, you know, representing real people and, you know, trying to make a character seem like a fully three-dimensional person. But I do also love the kind of Monty Python-esque thing where you're doing skits and sketches, and it's not played as realistic, but it's, you know, there's a fun aspect to that. So I enjoy both of those. And then to watch, I'd say, is probably very similar. I kind of enjoy serious sort of people thing, and then also lots of, you know, unrealistic comedy.
I think I would, and watching wise, I'd watch anything. I mean, if it's not good, I'm going to turn it off, but I'll watch it. Acting, I tend to kind of hang around the more realistic sense, but push it to like the extreme of that realism. So like, if someone's happy, they'll be extremely happy the entire time, but without making it like over the top pantomime or fake. And like the same with the sadness or kind of depression or anger, like you push it to the extremes of what is believable. And I think it's an interesting way of doing it. It's quite fun, but it's also quite tolling on the body and the mind.
Yeah,
definitely. Do you think that there's a big difference between film acting and theatre acting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Huge difference. Because like in theatre, playing to an audience, so you really want to engage because the audience is right there. So you want to engage them and like kind of draw them into the play. Where like when you're filming, like it's just you and a camera or you and another actor, and you're not really thinking about who, like the audience. You're more thinking about the performance right then. So like with theatre, you have to project, and your movements are very much playing out to
what the audience sees.
To what the audience sees. Where like film, it's a lot more subtle and a lot more like drawn back.
Yeah, and with theatre acting, it's all about that instant gratification. It's the claps at the end of a musical number, or the well done and the praises you get in the lobby, or the reviews on newspaper. Whereas with film, kind of I almost say film is more like doing an everyday job, where you go in, you do your work, and then you leave, and then maybe the end of the year, maybe the end of 2 years after a big shoot has been finished and it's been released, then you get your kind of gratification for it. I think that's more of I think that's the best way of looking at it is when you're working like for them every single day, like when you're doing a performance in theatre, you will get some form of feedback, be that negative or positive. It doesn't really like it will affect how you kind of do the performance the next time. You might change something to make it better, or you might end up let that affect you and it goes worse, whereas kind of you only get one shot every night. And I think film is also different because you can retake things multiple times.
Actually, that's a really good point, is that with theatre, everything is sort of, if you do multiple shows or multiple performances of the same show, then it's usually different every night. And obviously an actor could do the same thing, but it's because it's live, there's a whole different thing from the audience's perspective. And then the same thing with film is that there's a lot you can do with film and theatre that you can't do with the other one. So in film, you can do close-ups, and it changes the reception of a certain shot. So it's having a close-up of an actor's face when they have like a emotive monologue or something, or having the actor on stage in front of 100 people doing the same thing. It's a very different effect. So you could do maybe identical acting in the two things, but it would be received completely differently.
Do you find it more nerve-wracking to do film or to do theatre, because there's only the one chance really to do theatre?
I find film now more nerve-wracking because I've grown up doing theatre my whole since I was about 7, and like film is very new to me. I've only started doing it this year, so I've never really been taught of how to act for film. Where like with theatre, I've been doing I did speech and drama, I did all that kind of stuff. So I was taught like how to play to an audience. Where now it's all very new. So even though it's in front of other people with theatre, I still would find film.
Do you have aspects you can take from the theatre? Obviously, it's the same, it's acting.
Yeah.
But do you have aspects you can take from theatre to film?
Yeah. Can't really think.
I mean, personally, it doesn't really bother me. At first, when I was kind of learning the whole film scene, it was very overwhelming with kind of the amount of equipment that's around you, and you have to pretend that none of it's there, and you're in the moment. But you kind of get used to it after doing even after a couple of takes. You just kind of get used to it, and you get into the flow of what you're doing. And for theatre, I mean, like I've been performing since I was like 2, so like my entire life really, and it's just I've kind of grown up to kind of just understand it and not really have the nerves. Like I'd still get nervous going into like big auditions or anything, but in general, tend to be okay. Although kind of one of the tips they give you when you're starting out in theatre is like picture the audience naked. It's not a good idea, I'm going to be honest, and I wouldn't suggest that to anyone. And I think that's like the only real tip that they ever give you for nerves. Other than that, they kind of say that they'll tell you nerves are good, like that will mean that when you go on stage, the adrenaline will kick in and it'll be an even better performance. But and I think that's a bad kind of thing to take into film with you, because sometimes your performance doesn't need that kick of adrenaline. It may need the nerves, or it may need the kind of relaxed, calm serenity. So
I think similar to that, I've pretty consistently got nerves on stage, and I'd say I'm probably more comfortable in front of, or on stage than I am in front of camera, because on stage, it's a very consistent thing, and I know how to deal with those nerves and use them to my advantage. Whereas on camera, it's very inconsistent. Like I'm pretty used to being on a film set, so it doesn't really bother me with all the equipment and stuff around. Like I was an extra on Vikings, as I'm sure half of Ireland was since I was like 12. So I'm used to all those people bustling around, but having the focus on me can vary if I'm in a scene on my own or with multiple people around me, like other actors. And so I guess it's much more varied in film. So I'd actually prefer theatre to film because of that.
Is there anything you've acted in that has gone horribly? Any horror stories?
When I was like, I think it was like 15, I was in like this play with this drama group I was in for years, and it was all girls, and like we had it down, like we
Is that
had.
Cage Birds?
Yeah. No, it wasn't Cage Birds.
Oh, it wasn't Cage Birds. Okay.
I can't remember the name of it now, but like it was kind of a horror, like scary play, and we all had to like sit on this bus and like create tension, but we all like kind of got really nervous and like giddy on the night, and we all started saying each other's lines, and it made no sense, and then we were like, wait, no, you're her and I'm her, and we were like,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
and
sorry, I'm
like,
going to have to cut you off there.
So it's okay.
We're going to go to an ad break. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Fashion is what you buy, but style is how you wear it. Step into an oasis of calm and class. Allow us to help you find your style for any occasion. Ashanti Gold Boutique. Passionate about personal service.
Harbour Bar Bray, voted the best bar in the world. Come along and join us. Pull up a stool and sample the perfect pint. The crack is always mighty. The fire is always burning and Raoul is always smiling. The Harbour Bar Bray, my harbour.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about horror stories and acting. So if you want to continue your story, I had to cut you off.
Well, just the end of it was like, it was only like a little play, like only like parents and friends were really there, so it didn't really matter too much. But yeah, at the end of it, they were all like, we didn't understand that bit in the middle. And we were like, we didn't either. We don't know what happened.
I suppose I've had a couple of times where I've been in shows and kind of stuff has mishapped. So I was doing a play that a group that I was with, we wrote called Characters Anonymous, and the person who's acting alongside me is my kind of duo in it, because we were playing Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. He came on stage and just completely forgot his line, and it was like down to the two of us. We basically had to improv like 10 minutes worth of acting in front of a live audience, and it was in the round as well, so like there was audience on every side, so there was no way you could turn around and like kind of think of something. You had to think on the spot. That was interesting. And then but like those kind of shows, it's more obvious, but also it gives the audience a good kind of, it gives them an individual experience. I mean, I've been to shows where stuff has gone wrong and you've kind of gone, that's not going to happen to anyone else. Like, that's a very individual show. Like, I can kind of take that as a good memory. And then there are some types of kind of shows in theatre where you can get away with a mistake. Like pantomime, you can get away with a mistake, you can play it off as a joke kind of thing. Whereas you've got some of those like real serious acting scenes, like if you're watching, say, The Crucible or something, and something goes wrong, you're not going to be able to pull that off as a joke.
Yeah. I remember I was in The Crucible, and every night my line would get skipped. I only had like 3 lines, so it didn't really matter. But then, like on the very last night, the guy finally remembered to leave my cue in, and like I could hear everyone in the background like, "Yay, Georgia got to say her line."
I've had, I'd say not 100% of like the things, but like a lot of things that I've done, because I've sort of done a bunch of things. There's like, I've messed up something small at least in almost everything, and sometimes I've been able to play it off alright, and I think that a lot of actors can relate to that. Is one of the most important things about doing a performance is being able to adapt when things go wrong. There have been a few where we didn't maybe adapt the best. I remember I'm in Cabinteely Youth here, which is, and I think it was a year or two ago, we had a performance and I had like a duologue with one of my friends, and the first line is like, "Look at the moon," like, that was pretty much the only line I remembered correctly, and everything after that was just off. But I was able to play off some of it because I was supposed to be like high off onions.
Okay. Yeah,
it's an interesting concept. But my friend kept being like, maybe the moon is this, like. So I'd say that was probably the worst one. And somehow we got the best duologue because we managed to save it towards the end. But like the fact that I messed up in it, even if I maybe saved it afterwards, was still something that I would hold today as like not one of my proudest moments, or something that I feel like I still regret and I wish I could go back and change. So I think that even whenever it goes okay afterwards, or like you fix something, it still like sticks with you. So.
Yeah, well, there's still a regret there, because you feel bad sometimes for throwing other people off though as well.
Exactly.
Because that does happen. Like if you forget a line and you say something and then the other person kind of goes, "That's not in the script. Like what am I supposed to say now?"
Like a domino,
Yeah, but there are other times. I mean, some people do shows just on improv, and it's just completely made up. Like the audience comes in, gives them a location, their characters, what they have to do, what they have to achieve, and they make it up. And then there's other times. I mean,
go great or terrible.
Yeah, we had shows on just after Christmas that we had to devise ourselves in college, and the show that I was in, every time we performed it, like we didn't have a set script, we just changed it every time, and we'd like drag it out to like.
It was so long. It was good.
It was meant to be like it was meant to be like 15, 20 minutes and in length, and we could drag it out for like 40 minutes, just messing around, like, but it all made sense. So that's the kind of thing you can kind of do it in a sense that it works, and then other times it's like a necessity to do, and other times it's just shambles.
But what I've always been told by like directors and acting teachers is like the audience doesn't know the script. So like.
Sometimes they do.
Oh, sometimes they do.
And the people who are there to review the show definitely knows the script because it's on their lap with them.
They don't know what you're meant to do. Like it could be an interpretation. They just left out that line for
left out like a few
reason.
pages.
I mean, in Shakespeare, if you mess up and go like, "Oh shit, that wasn't my line," or whatever, you know, that's something they'll be using to spot. So it depends on the actual play or performance that you're doing a part of. Like the acting has a lot of impact on the actual genre, has a lot of impact on the acting rather. I was gonna say something else.
So like speaking of the Shakespeare, that kind of like older acting, do you think it's better or worse now compared to back then, or even 20 years ago?
Oh, Interesting.
Debatable.
Debate. Depends who does it.
I love Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare, and I studied when I lived in the UK. I studied in a Shakespeare at the Tobacco Factory, which is kind of the Shakespeare Act is a course, well, not a course. It's basically a project done to kind of keep Shakespeare as a big influence in British culture. So they send people and representatives around to all these different theatres, small or big, around the country, and they get young people into theatre on these courses to learn about Shakespeare and then to produce shows and stuff. And I think it still has a big relevance in today, because a lot of the things that because a lot of his work was actually quite comical and gestatious towards the world around him. And although we've kind of come on technologically, a lot of the problems that they faced, we still face. So it's still relevant in that sense. I think people have just kind of turned off to the language of Shakespeare, which is quite tough, because if you actually understood it and listened to it, it can be really hilarious and really moving and interesting. I think it's just young people these days young people of today don't get it.
I think that could also be the fact that like young people today who aren't necessarily interested in Shakespeare, who aren't necessarily interested in acting, are like forced to learn it in school, and that can really turn you off.
I mean,
that turned me off.
Forced to learn anything, it's not really gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna make you jump on this trampoline. It's just like, it takes away from it.
With Shakespeare, like I've seen people do modern twists on it, and that can be great, but that can also be bad. Like you kind of have to. I think you have to really understand the text, like not just like kind of get a feel for it. You have to really like break down every word if you want to do it well. Yeah. You have to understand it.
I mean, we were discussing. We had to hand in a project the other day about how to tackle the problems of a pre-20th century play. So obviously Shakespeare falls under that category, and there's a lot of kind of ways that you can do it to modernize the play in kind of costume. So you could modernize costume, or you could modernize props and set, but keep the old language. Or some people have tried to kind of adapt the language of Shakespeare, which a lot of people who are big Shakespeare buffs will see that as a crime. Like you do not change the words of Shakespeare, that is written in gold. But like just the idea then, you mentioned trampolines. I mean, like if you wanted to put a Shakespeare show on once everyone's bouncing around on trampolines, like it's just a way to you have to keep the audience interested in what you're doing.
Yeah, because like they've been,
because
like,
they'll turn off.
At the end of the day, like Shakespeare plays, like they have been done to death. Like everyone's done them. Like
and no one wants to sit for like 2 hours listening to good old English speak where you talk like this and you talk like that.
Unless it's like an incredible performance.
Unless it's a great performance. So you have to have this way to kind of entice the audience.
I think another big thing on that is if the actor doesn't understand what they're saying, or if they don't get the meaning of what they're saying across, it is boring. It doesn't, like, if you're just hearing words, it's going bouncing off your head, like your ears even. So one of the most important things that I think would make a Shakespeare play relevant is when the actors put in the work and go, okay, this is what I mean by this line, because this is sort of the language, and understanding what they're saying and giving it meaning, even if it isn't maybe the original meaning, is going to keep your audience interested, like with anything. Like the words can be complicated, but they were back then as well. He uses what was used to be slang. Like it is
he made
completely
up a lot
different.
of his own words as
Exactly,
well. Like he made up the word orange. Like that was his invention, was the word orange kind of thing. So like a lot of words that he was performing on stage, people in the audience had never heard of before.
Yeah. It had to be very clear.
So it had to be clear what they're doing. And I mean, on the topic of trying to like get them to understand the feeling and emotion behind it rather than just the words, we were watching in class the other day. We were watching this American director. It's called Bob Wilson, and his interpretation of Shakespearean sonnets. And the actors in it are all German, but they're painted in kind of commedia dell'arte kind of style, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And you can't understand a word they're saying. They're speaking Shakespearean in German.
I mean, it's usually for Germans, so.
Well, yeah, it's for Germans, but like we, as a class of people who don't speak German, sat there, watched it, and in a general sense could understand what was going on and kind of
like enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it and keep you kind of captivated.
Like if a performance is good, it doesn't really matter what's being said. Like you like, even if you're given some horrendous text or something you just don't understand, if you perform it well, you can still completely captivate an audience.
Yeah.
So performance is everything.
Yeah.
Basically.
And you think it's kind of stayed the same throughout? Like it's the same today. Will be performances. Will be everything.
Yeah, well, a well-written play or a well-written script definitely helps.
Yeah.
But I've seen like people perform absolutely terrible scripts and do a really good job. Like and then I've seen people perform like really well-written things horribly.
Yeah.
So like
it depends on your it depends on your actor's abilities and the abilities of the writer and actually the director, because once it's written, like it's the director who then has to interpret it. And they have to make do with what they've been given, like the budget, the actors, the props, the set, kind of whatever you can do, like do it and do it to the best of your ability. So
yeah. I think that you can't really ride on just good acting and just a good script. It has to be, you have to find a balance.
Yeah, you can't ride on the coattails of others.
Yes.
Agreed. Anyway, we're going to go to a quick break and then we'll be back with a whole new panel. We're going to talk about Netflix, other streaming things, the pros, cons, what it means for the future of the industry, and the relationships that it's going to cause.
We are from Bray Institute of Further Education, and we are going to be performing Martin Crimp's Attempts on Her Life. Over this whole process, we've been trying to figure out who is Anne and where is she? Help us figure out these questions. Tuesday the 13th and Wednesday the 14th of March at 8 p.m. in the Mermaid Theatre in Bray. Tickets €5 before the show dates and €8 on the night.
Fashion is what you buy, but style is how you wear it. Step into an oasis of calm and class. Allow us to help you find your style for any occasion. Ashanti Gold Boutique. Passionate about personal service.
Harbour Bar Bray, voted the best bar in the world. Come along and join us. Pull up a stool and sample the perfect pint. The crack is always mighty. The fire is always burning and Raoul is always smiling. The Harbour Bar Bray, my harbour.
Guests, I have Courtney, Jamie, and James here. We're going to talk about online streaming, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. So, does anyone have a subscription to Netflix or Hulu or whatever?
Yeah, I have a subscription to Netflix.
Yeah, so do I. Our family does.
Yeah, and James?
Yeah, I have. I'm going to get one soon also.
Do you use it a lot? Is it something you'd use every day?
Yeah, like I use it all the time. Like I have it on my television, so I just click a button and I can turn it on. and then I also have my computer, so it's like you can sit down, have your lunch, watch it, and then also like if I'm just going to bed, I'll turn it on, just like a program just before I fall asleep or something. So I think it can get so addicting because you can have it everywhere. Like even you can get the app on your phone now.
Yeah.
Like people are on the bus, they're watching it, like, and I just think it's so accessible everywhere. Not even to everyone, but when you do have it, it's like you can watch it literally anywhere.
Anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that the future of it, do you think it will replace TV? I mean, it's kind of going there, but do you think it will ultimately replace it?
Yeah, I think it can. I mean, if it branches out more and it covers, like, especially, let's say Netflix. Like, Netflix could literally have live TV within the, like, programs they have already. Like, you could have, like, the way Instagram has, like, a live section in its app, you could literally have, like, a live section in the Netflix program. So you can switch between it. And I think that's what's keeping television alive right now, is the live programs that you can't really just watch whenever.
Yeah.
But I think Netflix could definitely adapt and just completely take over television networks.
Do you think so too, Jamie? You think that's going to ultimately take it over?
Yeah, like Hulu at the moment has 3 different subscription rates, and you pay $45 a month, and it includes live TV as well. So I think Netflix might come
Jump in on
to
that, yeah. And James, you feel the same as well? I think it's going to take over?
Yeah, I feel that you know, with like RT and the likes, I think they're going to slowly they're going to have to kind of adapt to like streaming as well, because if they don't, I think the only thing that's keeping them going really is their sports. You know, they can show like, you know, I'd say Netflix at some point might even go into that, showing like sports or whatever, I'd say.
Do you think like Netflix makes a lot of original content?
Yeah.
Have you watched any of their original shows or or their movies?
Yeah, definitely. And it, like you can see once you go in, their stuff's the most popular. It's trending all the time. And I think the reason behind that is because they get the best, they get the writers in, you know what I mean? They get the writers from big shows in, and they get them to write the scripts. So they know what they're doing, Netflix. Like they know what they have to make in order to entice people to watch their stuff. Like I really feel like they don't do it for themselves, which maybe a lot of filmmakers do, or television makers. They'll make it for themselves, but Netflix really try and make binge-worthy series where, like, you know, it's not something that you kind of will get bored at. You know, you won't be sitting there, oh, this is boring. They'll write scripts that's constantly like a cliffhanger after every episode, and I think that's, you know, why like they're becoming much bigger than any other shows that are out there that are on networks.
We talked about the like Netflix taking over TV. Do you think that subscription services like Netflix, Hulu, that make their own films, do you think that it will take over the cinema? Like it will change the cinema experience?
Yeah, I think so, because like there's people like Spielberg who are against you know, Netflix being entered into the Oscars. Now I feel that's kind of him afraid that it'll, you know, take a business away from him. So you can definitely see that even kind of some of the old directors are kind of afraid that Netflix will take over cinema.
Like things like Roma was nominated for 10 awards this year, and that was Netflix. I mean, I think they had to release it into a cinema just to be qualified, but it's mainly Netflix, and I think it's their first Best Picture as well. I think that will continue. Do you agree that they'll make
like,
more?
There's no difference. Like they're still made the same way. You know, with a film crew, pre-production's the same. It's just distributed differently. And I think, like, as well with cinema, people don't want to pay for it anymore. Do you know? Like, you're paying what, $7.99 a month for Netflix, and then you can go and see one film in the cinema for nearly the same price. And don't get me wrong, the like cinema experience is still authentic, and you know, I go myself, but a lot of the time you don't go, oh, I want to see that film, let's go. It's like, what should we do? Like, you know, you're meeting up with a friend, like, oh, maybe let's go for dinner, go to cinema. It's just kind of a hobby to do now, rather than oh, to see this, I have to go to the cinema and see this.
I think films like Roma, they're quite a intimate, small experience. And
Yeah.
do you think that films will continue going that way? Like directors are going to start making films for their audience who they know are going to sit in their living room and watch it rather than on a big screen with surround sound?
I think it just depends on like how like writers or directors are driven. Like people are money driven, and then sometimes people are driven by creativity. So I think if you're driven by creativity, you're going to do whatever you want, whether it's for the cinema or whether it's for at-home experience. But like I said, Netflix, I think, make all these things for that at-home experience. Like the most recent one, which did really well on Rotten Tomatoes, was Russian Doll, and the episodes each are 20 minutes long. Like it's such short viewing, and it's literally like if you have like a break, you know, you're waiting to go to work, oh, I'll put that on for 20 minutes, whereas sometimes you don't start something because you're like, oh, it's an hour long, I'm not going to get time to watch it.
Yeah.
So I do think it just depends on obviously what you're trying to sell. Now, obviously producers they might go for scripts like that that are shorter, and they might invest in TV series because they know that's what people are buying. I think directors might fight against that because they just want to keep the creativity of it going, and they might feel that, you know, cutting it so short is kind of limiting creativity. So it just depends really, I think.
And what about distribution, James? Do you think that big companies like Fox, Disney, Paramount, like they all spend millions of dollars to get their films into cinemas all over the world, and Netflix can do it in a second just uploading it? Do you think that the distribution companies should be scared for their finances?
Well, if we look at Disney now, they're what they've done now is they're going to set up their own online streaming. So stuff like Daredevil and I can't remember the other one, but all the Marvel shows that used to be on Netflix have been moved off because Disney are going to set up their own streaming service. So they see the opportunity there. And the same with Warner Brothers. They're doing the same with their DC content. They're going to do the same.
So they're adapting, and you think that all of these companies will have to adapt?
Yeah, I think so. Like if you look at even Fox now, like Fox, 20th Century Fox, they might be sold onto Disney. So then again, they're getting bigger again.
Yeah, it'll be quite a big market then. Do you think that if Netflix films were released into the cinema, like Bird Box, they released viewing numbers, they said 45 million people had watched it. Do you think that it would have done the same success if it was in the cinema? Or do you think that the accessibility of Netflix allowed it to skyrocket?
Well, I think it being on Netflix kind of gave it more notoriety, and then putting it in cinema gives it even more of a boost again. Because I think people look more so at Netflix now, and if it gets that exposure on that, then they can do it. Like even Scorsese is doing the same. He has Irishman is going to be put on Netflix and put out in cinemas also. So you can see even old directors like him are moving to that.
Well, I think as well what Jamie's saying is that, you know, if it wasn't on Netflix before, would we have watched it? Would have caught our attention? I think it's just, there's so much content on Netflix. It's that like you watch everything, and it's like whatever's trending you'll watch. Whereas you don't go when you know we didn't have Netflix or anything. You didn't go and see everything in the cinema. You'd go, oh, I really want to pay to go see that. I'll go see it. But Netflix, you know, you paid for your subscription. If you have a few hours off, you're going to go watch it anyway, whether it's bad or good. Like with Bird Box, you know, I was reluctant to watch it because, you know, I wasn't sure, but everyone said watch it, and I was like, why not? I paid for this subscription, might as well make use of it. You know, I had a couple 3 hours, watched it, and like I just don't think that's the same with the cinema. Like you only go on, it used to be a case of, oh, if it's really good I'll go, if not I'll just wait for the DVD to come out because I don't really care that much. So I think if we didn't have Netflix, I don't think these films or shows like would be getting the same viewings. And it's like if these shows were shown on a network television, you actually wouldn't take the time, you know, usually 9 o'clock shows on, you wouldn't sit down every week, once a week to watch it unless, you know, it really caught your attention. And that's why I think Netflix, like, it's just, there's so much content and it's not even all that good. But we're all watching it because we're paying for it, and, you know, we just want something to entertain us for a few hours. And a lot of the time we're watching it and you're on your phone half the time. But whereas if it's, you're taking time out of your day to actually watch it, you know, you have to make that choice. Is it good? Is it not good? Whereas Netflix, it's like, well, might as well watch it. I'm paying for it.
You said that there's like a huge amount of content on Netflix. Do you think it's a positive thing? Obviously, people will get more work to work in films, obviously, but there is a lot more content on Netflix, which I think it can taint the reputation, I suppose, of Netflix. Do you agree with that? Do you think it's a positive or negative thing?
I think it's a bit of both. Like, is negative, I think, socially, the amount of content we actually consume, but probably in terms of work for filmmakers, it's good.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about streaming. After a quick ad break, we're going to talk about people's favourite shows and whether they agree with the binge watching or not. So join us then.
Everybody has a routine. Everybody goes about their daily lives, goes to work, spends time with the ones we love, our friends and family. And it's easy to forget how suddenly we might need someone else's help. For me, it's become a part of my everyday life. All community first responders are volunteers, so the motivation to do this has to come from within. Of course, we're just normal people, so the training we have is vital, as well as the equipment. As a first responder, I'm constantly reminded that life is fragile. We serve our community by attending emergency medical situations and treat patients before the ambulance arrives. It's also not just about the patient. It's important to remember it's also an emergency situation for the patient's family. We can offer them reassurance and support. I guess I just love waking up in the morning, knowing I could save somebody's life. We might have 10 minutes to get there, we might have 10 seconds, but sometimes that could be enough.
We are from Bray Institute of Further Education, and we are going to be performing Martin Crimp's attempts on her life. Over this whole process, we've been trying to figure out who is Anne and where is she? Help us figure out these questions. Tuesday the 13th and Wednesday the 14th of March at 8 p.m. in the Mermaid Theatre in Bray. Tickets €5 before the show dates and €8 on the night.
Welcome back to BIFE TV. Before the break, we were talking about streaming, and we're going to have another chat about it. So, just a few more questions we can ask. So, do you have a favorite streaming platform that you watch?
Definitely be Netflix.
Yeah.
I think it's the most easiest to get to, like the likes of Amazon Prime, and once you get that, you kind of have to buy the add-ons for your TV as well as the app to actually get it. But I think Netflix, like, you can have the app, you can have it on your laptop, your TV, anything.
What about YouTube? Does that the YouTube Premium? Does anything?
No,
No.
I think Netflix is the best. You know, it's just so simple.
Yeah.
And it does have such a variety, like, of everything. That's TV shows, films, and then all your different genres. Whereas, like, I think with Amazon Prime and stuff, you kind of, people might get them for a certain show. Like, if they can't get it on Netflix and they love the show, they'll get Amazon Prime or Hulu. But I think Netflix is just everything, you know, like, you can get, especially you can get family packs, you can get deals on that. And, like, it means, because there's so much content in it, you can get everything and everyone can watch something.
For the, like you said, family packs, like a lot of different streaming services would offer like student discounts or the family discount. Spotify does that as well. Do you stream music or do you download it, put on your phone? How do you consume music?
Yeah, I use Spotify a lot of the time. I don't pay for it, but even not paying for it, like, you still get a lot of music. Like, you get the top 40 and then you can choose whatever genre you want. So I think it's an interesting move from when, you know, you used to kind of buy from iTunes, you know. That's, like, I know it's 99 cents a song or something, but if you want loads of songs, and then obviously it's such a quick moving industry that it's like there's a couple of new songs each week, you know, and you're not going to be paying like €10 a week, especially as a student, you know. You're not going to be paying that every week. So I think obviously Spotify as well is another reflection on how we consume media so quickly. You know, it's like a fast food industry now. I think the music industry and the TV and film industry is just, there's so much content, and I think we ask for that in a way. Like, it's not given to us. I think that's what we want, because I think life's become so fast moving. Like, everyone wants to do so many different things compared to, let's say, like 30 years ago, when, you know, everything, I think just culturally we are so fast moving, and I think it reflects in the two industries, the music and film and TV industry.
I think services like Spotify, it does allow us to listen to, with a payment obviously, you can listen to as many songs as you want, and probably most songs that you search for would be there. Do you, like, obviously you listen to a lot, but then it's kind of like binging songs. Do you binge movies as well, binge films, or binge TV shows?
TV shows, yeah, definitely. I feel like Netflix producers, directors, writers, they all have a pressure on them to create binge-worthy shows. Because if you go onto Netflix and watch a show and it's like, oh, next week, you know, you're 50% of the time you're not going to come back. You're going to forget about it because you're going to find something else that is binge-worthy. So binge-worthy shows would be the most thing to go for.
So do you agree with binge watching? You think that do you like that over the weekly episodic shows that would come out, you have to wait for them? Do you think it builds more tension, or do you think that binge watching is a more satisfying experience to watch?
I think it is more satisfying, that's why we watch it. In terms of it's good or bad, like, socially I think it's quite negative, like, like, you could sit down for a whole day and watch. You know, like, if you're not in a good mood and you don't want to do something, you have Netflix there to just sit down, watch for however many hours, and I think it, you know, interrupts, like, you know, doing other more social things. I think it makes people just sit in and watch television all day, whereas, you know, when we didn't have Netflix and it was just a normal network, you couldn't just sit and watch the TV. Or you'd be bored, like, because you'd be like, oh, I don't like this thing that's coming up next, or I don't like that. So, yeah, I guess it is good for, like, people who are in Netflix who are making these shows, like, because obviously, you know, this is what we want, but maybe it's something we should kind of look at ourselves and go, is this good for us?
Yeah. Do you feel the same, James? Do you think that the binge watching it has its positives and negatives?
Yeah, I feel like binge watching is pretty much like, it's like as if they've made the TV shows split up, but in pretty much it's like one big long movie, I find. I mean, that's why, you know, stuff like Breaking Bad, like, if you watch that like one after another, it's like it's like a film you're watching as it goes.
I think Breaking Bad is a bit more elements of you know, older TV shows, because I think it was only put on Netflix on the last season. So like, if you can't actually compare Breaking Bad to some of the stuff now that we have, like, you know, like there's a new program called You out about a stalker, and it's just gets to the end of the show and it's like, oh, I need to know what happens next, you know, and you need to watch the next one. Like, if you have the time, you'll watch it. Whereas Breaking Bad, like, I watched that over like a couple of years, and you kind of got that more, like, a better experience of it, because you're like, it's fine, I'll watch one tonight, one next night. Whereas everything else that's on now, it's like, it is like watching a film. Like, you feel a bit lost if you go back into it 3 days later, because it is almost like one big film.
Do you find that you gravitate towards more TV shows now than films? Or if there was an option to watch a film that you've been looking forward to, would you put that on rather than a TV show?
Personally, I think films, like TV shows, are more interesting nowadays. But I think it's because that you can have more character development and you can get attached to the characters more and the story more. Like, I think it's always been like that, though. I just think we have more TV now, so we can enjoy it more. Whereas films, it is very hard to get attached to a character in an hour and a half. So I think that's why I'd enjoy television more.
Also, TV shows now have a bigger budget now than they would have in the past. Like, there's a better production quality than there was in the past, so that's why TV was years ago seen as like a poor man's version of like film, but it's not anymore. It's on the same level as film. Like, the quality